The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93
Dude, Kris Statlander! Statlander's back! She signed an American Sign Language. Mama's home! This is incredible!
Kris Statlander, our TBS champion, tomorrow night on Collision. You've got a match against Mercedes Martinez. How do you feel about an opponent of that caliber?
Renee, you know what pickles my egg? People like Mercedes Martinez get title shots when last week on Collision, she attacked me with my own belt. I'm not gonna take that lying down. So Mercedes, you better brush your teeth. You better put your PJs on. You better clean out the gutter, wash the car, and you better recaulk the tub because tomorrow night on Collision, Mama's coming home.
Statlander, everywhere we go, one of the most popular athletes in AEW, and it is no exception here.
From Long Island, New York, Kris Statlander.
Showtime.
It's Tuesday, and you know what that means. Welcome to AEW Dynamite, along with the human suplex machine, Taz.
No.
And the one and only Tony Schiavone. I'm Excalibur. Sorry, I blew up. Welcome to the Half-Ass Morning Show. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to be Excalibur. Today on the Half-Ass Morning Show, AEW TBS champion Kris Statlander joins us in studio. Isn't that exciting?
That is exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Recaulk the tub, she says.
I love that. You know, and it if you haven't, we'll have to post this video because if you haven't seen it, as she's cutting this promo, she's squatting the announcer or the broadcaster.
The woman who asked her the question, she's got her like up on like an old torture rack on her shoulders and just squatting her up and down.
Okay. So funny.
Because she's getting ready for the match, you know, she's always training.
I cut out the breaths in between, but every time she's like, you know, cock the tub, and then gets back up, and she keeps going. It was so funny.
I'm so glad you brought that up from the get-go because I was going to ask you guys, this is what I had in front of me, and I didn't get a chance to watch this promo that you're referencing. Somewheres in Kris Statlander's bio that we received, so we know what the hell we're talking about when she gets here, I read she's recently cut promos while squatting AEW backstage hosts Renee Paquette and another host by the name of Lexi Nair, and she might do the same thing when they come to Minneapolis here in a couple of weeks. I thought squatting was a hip young person's term that I wasn't familiar with.
No, she's legitimately squatting like you might see in a gym.
I did not know it.
But instead of free weights or a bar, she's using a human being, a cute blonde. And the woman was so funny as she's on the shoulders, just the look as if nothing's going on here. I'm just doing
that's the best part.
Normal interview.
She talks in the mic and then kind of like angles it over so that Statlander can talk into it.
That would be
it's a great bit.
Renee Paquette is a very clever, terrific reporter for AEW, the wife of John Moxley.
Mm-hmm. She even has her own podcast. It's very funny.
Whoa, weird. Someone has their own podcast. I'm so glad we cleared that up because I thought I had fallen behind in my knowledge of some hip new term. I thought squatting meant something completely different, but you're talking legitimately hoisting someone. Kris Statlander will be here around 7:30. AEW is coming to town in a couple of weeks.
I know you guys are really into it, and I wasn't too familiar with her, but after watching some videos yesterday, she's awesome. I can see why she's so popular. Were you saying she was the most or up there as far as one of the most popular wrestlers for AEW?
Definitely the most.
The most?
Yep.
Yeah, I could totally see why.
She's obviously like one of the biggest name women wrestlers right now in AEW, but I mean, she's even broken through to just, you know, even men's.
She's wildly popular.
Become a huge favorite.
She's very talented. I watched some of her matches.
She's a great athlete.
Seems like a good person too. I watched some video vlogs, right, of just like regular folks that kind of do stuff in their basement. She's been nice enough to do interviews with a lot of people. You know, a lot of them from a while ago. Boy, she can put up with some bad interviews. So that's good for us.
Yeah, that's a great sign.
Really? Okay, good.
Yeah, she's really smart.
She's open to being interviewed by just about anybody?
It appeared that way, at least in the past. I'm sure her folks are a little more protective of her now, but...
Like you said, that plays in our favor. November 29th, AEW is in town. They'll be going live with an episode of Dynamite. And then I think in the same night, they tape an episode of their Friday night show, Rampage. Do you have your tickets yet, Wapple? I haven't heard you say anything about it.
No, it's a Wednesday.
Right.
That's what I hate about this stuff. Like Monday Night Raw, AEW on Wednesdays. But, you know, if SmackDown comes Friday night, that's easy. I can do that.
Sure, you can do that.
But the pay-per-view that was here could do that. That was Saturday.
I totally get it. We all get it. Weeknights suck. And Wapple, you've done well controlling yourself in the past with television wrestling guests in studio. I hope you can keep from busting a spring today when Miss Statlander shows up.
I think I can, but there's also something. The person that she's hooked up with is like my coup de grace. Absolutely love the dude.
Okay, when you say hooked up with, you mean what we believe to be her significant other. Okay, Wapple, that's none of your business. I want to make that clear right now.
I want to be with her boyfriend so bad.
You want to be with her boyfriend?
You want to switch places with her?
Orange Cassidy.
Don't be asking her about her boyfriends now.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's so much cooler.
I got my AEW sweatshirt on. I got his face on my chest.
Oh, you're ready.
No.
I love that.
For it.
Again, you guys are the real fans, but the times I've watched Orange Cassidy is great.
He's awesome.
Oh, my God.
He's so funny.
I remember the first time I watched him, and I came in the studio to tell Nick about it, and he's like, what's so great about him? I'm like, he does nothing. That's the best part.
All right, let her bring up her boyfriend.
Yeah,
Wait,
I know.
Can you cover up the shirt with her boyfriend's face on it?
I want him to wear it. I want to see what happens.
That just seems
up to my neck.
It seems somewhat invasive to me that you're just displaying her boyfriend's face.
Hey, you can wear it's a shirt you can buy on their website.
It's so funny because I only have 3 white T-shirts, and they're all Orange Cassidy T-shirts.
You have more than one Orange Cassidy T-shirt?
Yes, I do.
Any of them, is he holding up a thumbs up but just doesn't seem to commit to that thumbs up?
2 of them do. 2 of them are the exact same shirt, but one's the hardcore shirt, so it's got like little splotches of blood over it.
Yeah, we're gonna dork
Unreal.
out. We're gonna dork out even more so than we already are, I think, when Kris Statlander gets here. And you know, I didn't even consider this is the first I've thought of it. I just got done saying you behave yourself quite well, despite you're just wild about television wrestling. You have proven to us that you can contain your emotions. It didn't occur to me at all last night when preparing to talk to Kris Statlander that her boyfriend is Orange Cassidy, whatever, husband, boyfriend, whatever it is Orange Cassidy. So it's kind of double the excitement for you.
Oh, totally.
And you're right, he is so much fun to watch in and out of the ring. And I do remember you talking about this Orange Cassidy character. It was before AEW hit broadcast television. Of course, you and I were having constant conversation off air about what the show was going to be like. We were very excited about the show. And you mentioned this Orange Cassidy, told me the gimmick, and like 9 people out of 10, I didn't get it. Then when I saw him outside the ring, I thought, okay, that's very funny. But I said to myself, can he wrestle? Hell yes, he can.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That's where I thought, I instantly thought, okay, he's a funny character. He must lack in the ring somehow. Not even close. He's put on some great matches over the years. I mean, he and Kris, what a great couple. And something that they have in common, other than what they do for a living, is how wonderful, how talented both of them are in the ring.
Yeah. Wapple, we're getting some texts from people very excited for you because they can tell, obviously, how much you're geeking out. But I want folks just to let folks in on what the real deal is. Off air, it's even more crazy. I mean, he sent really long, impassioned emails. He will work 24 hours a day to put together any audio. He'll write bios, everything. This is such a passion for him that off air, it's even more intense.
Well, and like doing the bio, it was so easy because I'm like, okay, I know that. And like I was already halfway done with the bio by the time I'm like, oh, I should actually probably get some fun stuff.
There's a couple emails we've read from you in the past where Nick and I have discussed, is he okay?
Well, I think that there were a couple instances where you were not okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you were not okay.
Yeah, I remember we had Jeff Hardy. He was over the phone, and I remember everyone texting in afterwards. They could just hear the joy in my voice. They were like,
I love it.
Yeah, they were like, I'm so happy for you.
Kris Statlander started out in entertainment as a stunt person. We should ask her about that. That's very interesting to me. I think I could have done that. I think I could have gone that route. When I was young, I could take a beating. And this isn't a reference to my visit to Maple Lake, Minnesota in 1991 when all those pukes ganged up on me. But I think I could have been a stunt person. I could. How does a person say this? I could stay flexible while falling as a young person. I was rubbery. I was wiry. I think I could have been a stunt person.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell out of a car once, and I still spent the rest of the night drinking beer.
That's impressive.
Would you never back down really from a challenge, too?
No.
Okay, yeah.
I was just basing it on my physical, not capabilities, but my physical lack of limitation. If there's a word there that I'm missing.
They do a lot of stuff. Would you go through like a plate glass window?
Yeah.
Set yourself on fire?
I don't know. What are they paying me for the fire?
Like jump out of a plane?
No.
Yeah.
Would you jump a motorcycle over a Toyota Prius?
Sure. I'm basing it on the beating, the physical, there's that word again I'm not coming up with. Sure, there are certain things that would have been very, very frightening to me. Fire and jumping on what did you say? Jumping a motorcycle over a mountain or something? No, I mean, it depends on what they were paying. But that's very interesting. She started out as a stunt person.
I wonder if she's been in any movies or shows we've watched.
Yeah, I was trying to look that up. I couldn't find any information
which
one she's been in or done.
My physical stamina, maybe, is the word I'm going for, stamina.
Somebody else texted in, Wapple, and said, it's great you guys are doing a Make-A-Wish for a manic kid. You do sometimes come across like a child.
Totally.
I just love when I'm not the biggest dork on the show. So the moments like these are nice for me.
Oh, let's talk about your mood after the Bills game last night.
Oh, this has been fun this morning.
I already vented to Ashley and Waffle about it. I don't need to do it again. Nobody needs to hear that again.
I don't know if it would be venting, Dana. It's more like you just yelled at us.
Yeah, it was funny.
The Bills game?
Yeah, they lost on the last second field goal.
I watched the game. Yeah,
you did?
and
Okay.
you're angered by this?
Yeah.
They had 2 chances.
They got booed off the field.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was ugly.
Are you going to hop over to a new team now? Why don't you just hop over to a new team?
Absolutely
Come
not.
back to the Vikings.
No. No, Bills for life.
You know what else Wapple did, Dana?
What did he
Because of
do?
his passions. He put together a montage of all the turnovers from last night.
Decent gain on first down. The ball gets ripped out, and it is an early takeaway by the Denver Broncos. Jaquan McMillian. Allen fastball picked off out of the hands of Gabe Davis and into the arms of Justin Simmons. This one is picked. Another takeaway intercepted by Moreau. Here's a ball on the ground, trying to get it to Cook. Broncos say they have it, and they do.
Wapple gets the last laugh there.
Yeah, he does. I'll wear it. I deserve it.
I ended up watching a lot of that game last night. That was a donkey show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
We can get into that a little bit later when we haul Randy Shaver into the mix. That was funny. That football game last night.
Aren't the Broncos pretty bad?
I don't know.
They don't seem to be the greatest.
I mean,
maybe they're getting better.
And they're a 500 ball club now, right?
They've won like 5 in a row.
They're
or
not the
something
worst
like that.
friggin' team of all time.
They're not the Panthers.
No, they're not the Carolina Panthers. So there you go. What do we got going on otherwise? Oh, I wanted to, back to the stunt person thing, where Kris Statlander started out in the entertainment business as a stunt person. What was I reading the other day? Did anyone have, Josh, did you have that thought ever as a kid?
No, but one of my best friends growing up became one.
Stunt
That's what he does.
Person. Has he been in any notable movies and such that we could check out?
Not really. A lot of it he did in movies overseas.
It's still what he does to this day?
I think he runs like a jiu-jitsu school.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. So I don't know if he still does, but yeah, he did a lot of movies overseas and stuff. But
did he deal with like a lot of heights? I feel like stunt people deal with tons of heights.
He did everything.
Oh, scary.
And he was always the kid that had no fear growing up.
Sure. Uh-huh. The kid that was always jumping off the highest point of the playground or something.
You could tell him to do anything.
He was the fastest. He used to race BMX bikes. He was the fastest. He was the most lazy kid I've ever met. But when it came to competing or being a part of it, nobody could touch him.
That's awesome.
Do you remember him telling you of his greatest feats as a professional stunt person?
A lot of bike stuff because he was so good at it. A lot of fighting. He became, he's disciplined in a lot of different martial arts. So there's a couple where he was like a special forces guy, which was pretty cool. So he knows he can make it legit looking, like he knows how to hold a gun and stuff. Sure. He wanted to be a fighter pilot. That's what he wanted to do, and he didn't make it into the military. Meaning, he chose a different direction.
Guy sounds awesome.
He is awesome.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, it must have crossed my mind once or twice when I was a little kid, because I think that's a pretty common thought for a little boy from my generation. I want to be a stuntman. I mean, right? Kind of like astronaut or athlete. I think that a lot of little kids, little boys from me and Cubby's generation had that idea. I was surprised that stunt person wasn't mentioned in a report here on what your dream job was when you were a child. 2,000 some odd adults were asked what their dream job was when they were a child. I was surprised not to see stunt person in there. Maybe those who were surveyed are a little younger than Josh and myself. Maybe these are 30-year-olds or something like that. I have a top 20. Tell me if any of these match up with your idea of a dream job when you were a child.
Oh, Garbage Man's got to be on there.
That was mine. That was one of them. I had a few, and Garbage Man was definitely on.
I always loved to wake up and watch the Garbage Man take the garbage away in the morning.
That's adorable.
Oh, I loved it.
My parents would wake us up, and then when they'd wave back, it was awesome.
Picturing a little Wapple, his little footy pajamas running downstairs to watch the Garbage Man.
And then my mom always told me, I said my other dream job was to be a Subway sandwich artist.
You can still do that. Yeah. You can still pull that off.
Yeah, I would always saw it in the window and sandwich artist.
Your
when
mom?
I was little, I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, it was a fun job. I did that for a while. It was really fun.
And what did your mom tell you? I didn't follow what you meant by that.
I always told her I always wanted to be a Subway sandwich
you don't
artist.
Remember telling her that you wanted to be a Subway sandwich artist?
Not really.
Oh,
but
okay. You were very
always
little.
Brings it up. Yep.
Yeah, we've had that Garbage Man conversation before, and I can relate to you and Cubby, although I wasn't infatuated by the Garbage Man. It was the Milkman. That's the guy I wanted to be. I was in love with our neighborhood milkman, and I knew him personally, and when he would come to the door and deliver milk, I would just gaze into his eyes. I thought he was the coolest guy in the neighborhood.
I thought the Schwann's dude was pretty sweet, too. That meant you had bucks in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
That meant you had bucks in any neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fancy people got Schwann's.
Didn't they recently stop that bit? Someone told me that very recently Schwann's said no more on the delivery.
Could be.
Oh,
Yeah.
we used to get, I think, creamsicles from there. Those were the best.
Yeah, rich folks.
I thought somebody just told me they
It
signed
wasn't
up
that
for Schwann's.
There's something going on. Someone showed me an article maybe a week or two ago about Schwann's and how maybe they were done with the delivering of the snacks to the rich.
Maybe they got rid of the trucks, but they delivered online or something
Did
like
they
that?
change their name or something?
We'll have to.
Yeah, they changed the name.
That's
looks
all.
like.
Oh, that's all there is to it?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm seeing one article on it.
Oh, and I was just saying, I think that kids from me and Josh's generation, I think a big reason why quite a few little boys from our generation wanted to be stuntmen was a television show called The Fall Guy.
That's exactly it.
That starred one of the ultimate pimps in television history, Lee Majors. He died a few years ago, didn't he? Or am I putting another celebrity in the grave before their time? I thought that Lee Majors had died.
I think you're right. A friend of mine is named after Lee Majors. No, he's alive. Whoops.
And there's a movie coming out called The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling where he plays him.
I will not be watching that. That's disrespectful. Okay, Lee Majors is still alive, so I have put another celebrity in the grave too soon.
It sounded right.
Yeah, that dude, if you're young and you don't know who that dude is one of the coolest, baddest ass MFers of all time. I can't even imagine the action he would pull out of a nightclub in Hollywood in 1978. I can't even imagine it. That's how big of a pimp he was.
Oh, he was married to Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, he was. The television show The Fall Guy was a big factor in why I think guys from me and Josh's generation wanted to be stuntmen, stunt people. The other was it for me. Josh, are you familiar with this? The Burt Reynolds movie Hooper?
No.
Oh, I was in love with that movie. Hooper is a character played by Burt Reynolds. He's a stuntman. Jan Michael Vincent is in the movie. Badass movie. When I watched Hooper, I thought I should be a stuntman. Okay, here are these top 20 dream jobs. 2,000 some odd adults were asked what their dream job was when they were a child. Number 20, race car driver.
Absolutely.
19, marine biologist. Never entered my mind once.
No.
I hate the ocean. 18, firefighter.
For sure.
Yeah. After seeing Backdraft.
Please don't do that. That's a shot at me, right?
No, I saw Backdraft when I was like 10. I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Oh, no. It's even worse. He's being serious. All right, Kurt Russell's cool in Backdraft.
Yes.
There's some stuff to like about that movie, definitely.
Yeah, there's some cool scenes in Backdraft. It's just...
I also liked it.
It's just... It irks me. You're not aware of this?
No, I know it irks you, just the Donald Sutherland part. But, I mean, Kurt Russell is Bull McCaffrey's a badass.
Agreed.
One of the worst scenes in... Okay. Did we make it here, Josh? Number 17 on the list of dream jobs. You know, I mean, journalist / news anchor. That's pretty close to what we're doing around here, right?
Yeah, kind of close.
Yeah.
I mean, no, maybe not that close at all.
Why not?
Well, journalists, I mean, you got to be... I mean, what they do is pretty impressive.
Yeah,
right.
I'll agree with that.
Investigating the stories, you're trying to create something.
Yes.
The writing.
Yeah.
You're 100% accurate. But news anchor?
Well, all they do is read a cue card.
That's absolutely the truth.
You know, or a teleprompter.
Right.
Don't tell Randy Shaver this. Well, he probably already figured it out. We've got more effing talent in our left nut than any news anchor's got in his whole stinking body. 16, graphic designer. Really?
Well, if I designed something, it would be graphic. That's for sure. I mean, nasty.
Graphic designer. Okay, I mean, nothing against that. I'm surprised to see it on a list of dream jobs. Number 15, superhero. Yeah, we all thought maybe we could be Aqua Hoss or whatever his name was. Spider. 14, chef. Wow, that surprises me too.
No. Wapple, is that something you were interested when you? I know you love it now, but when you were a kid?
Not really as a kid. It was more or less like once I turned 9, 10, I would cook with my grandma, and that's kind of when I fell in love with cooking.
Didn't really dawn on me. Some of these are a little odd. Just because dream job usually means, out of reach, big type of things. Chef. Not that I think I could become a chef. Hell, I can't even make a grilled cheese sandwich. But to have a little kid say, when you were a little kid, what was your dream job? For someone to say chef will always surprise me. 13.
Yeah, that's true. When I was a kid, I thought it was very easy to become a chef. But, I mean, now Now that I'm older, I realize it's actually incredibly hard and takes a very long time.
Mm-hmm. I like 20. How the bigger the hat, the more important you are in the culinary community.
Yep.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
The bigger the hat,
yes.
That means you're more accomplished?
Yeah, we had a couple of promotions with Le Cordon Bleu, and I learned a lot. Is that still around the cooking school?
I think it is.
Is it? Okay.
It was when I went to school.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I have never known that before.
And one of the things they taught me while I was there was the bigger the hat, the more advanced you are. It's like getting a different color belt in karate, right? The more advanced you are.
I did a tour of Art Institute for cooking, and it was the same thing. All the professors that were way high up, they had the goofy tall hats. They had to duck underneath the doorways and everything.
Isn't it something how long you can go without knowing something?
Oh,
First time I've heard that in my life.
There's stuff I learn probably weekly that everyone else has known for decades.
Top 20 dream jobs. When kids were asked what their dream job was, 13 spy/secret agent.
Yeah, that would be pretty
That's
cool.
on there. That's on there for me.
Yeah, most
CIA,
definitely.
FBI.
You thought about that, Cubby?
Yeah.
12 architect. Well, I mean...
Oh, yeah, that definitely rings a bell. I wanted to do that for a while when I was a kid.
I would never, ever say it was one of my dream jobs, but I must admit, I thought Mike Brady on the Brady Bunch. Seriously, I thought he looked like it was a pretty sweet gig.
I like to drawing like that, like drawing buildings and the inside of bedrooms and stuff. I thought that was a lot of fun. Like, that also would be like decorating. I thought like decorating a room would be cool. Because at that age, I loved like moving around my stuff in my room to make it look different.
Number 11 is fashion designer.
Yep.
10, police officer.
Yep.
Never.
9, a lot of kids dreamed of being a writer. Number 8, business owner.
Yeah, that was something, or maybe just working for yourself, having your own business until you meet people who do it and realize how exhausting and difficult that is.
Yeah.
The stress.
7, to be an artist. I want to paint. I want to draw, that kind of a thing. We get into the top 5, 6 now, and it becomes a little more common, if that's the right word. Things you've heard a million times before. Number 6, professional athlete. 5, movie star. 4, musician. 3, veterinarian. I want to play with the animal.
I wanted to be a vet for such a long time until like I finally hit the age where I understood that I would also have to like
put them
deal
down
with dying animals, and I was like, no.
Animals in pain.
Don't they also go to school forever to be a vet?
I think so. Yeah.
Top 2, teacher and doctor.
Teacher and doctor. Surprised professional wrestler didn't make that list.
Well, professional athlete.
Oh yeah, okay.
What about princess?
Princess.
Yeah.
Wapple wanted to be a pretty princess, didn't you?
Yeah.
We don't want to hear your problems.
Yeah, Garbage Man should have been on that. I'm surprised because I meet plenty of people who, as kids, thought the Garbage Man was the greatest.
Or even just like Army Man or something like that.
Military.
Yeah, Army Man.
Military should have been on there.
Yeah.
That was something else I was very interested in.
Didn't cross my mind, but that didn't make the old top 20 here. Yeah, I was on Team Milkman.
Ice cream man for me.
Didn't care much for the Garbage Man. The ice cream man, sure.
Come strolling through, ringing that bell. Kids come running.
The ice cream man is the best.
He's got a pocket full of weed.
Yep.
Kung Fu Chef Jesus says Le Cordon Bleu has closed.
Oh.
And he said chefing is a labor of love.
That's true.
Yeah,
I learned that from the show The Bear on FX.
I hear a lot of people talk about that one.
Oh,
Very
it's
good.
so good.
Very intense, though, but very good.
Didn't you say it's too dark for me?
Yeah, it would stress you out, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh, the Christmas episode where everyone's talking over each other.
Yeah, Josh would just turn that off.
I almost DoorDashed some cigarettes. I don't even smoke after I watch that episode.
At all times in this one episode, it's 20 minutes, and there's constantly 4 or 5 people talking over each other the whole episode.
Oh,
sometimes that's like the NBA on TNT.
Yes, very true.
That episode made me sweat.
What program are you guys talking
The
about?
Bear.
Have you heard anyone talk about this? The Bear
No.
Hulu?
The Bear, no.
What is that actor's
Jeremy
name again?
Allen White.
Gosh, he is so cute.
Carmy.
What are we talking about? The Bear. Tell me about it.
He plays a chef in downtown Chicago,
and they're trying to get a new business started in this very high-stress restaurant, and it's just very intense.
Oh. You guys watch a show about a high-stress restaurant?
It's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Those shows, like those reality shows, are very. I know this isn't a reality show, but those ones are crazy popular.
Yeah, I've been getting into like kitchen nightmares again lately.
Oh yeah, that's coming back. I watch every single season of Hell's Kitchen.
Yes, it's so good.
Master Chef. I watch
Jesus
that.
criminy.
Barbecue Kings.
Do any of you guys work for a living?
Barbecue Kings.
Do any of you work for a living?
I remember when those shows first started getting popular, because before it was like on the Today Show or like a Rachel Ray or something, and then and then there's like rock and roll chefs, and everybody's getting into this.
A rock and roll chef.
My buddy started watching whatever Emeril Lagasse, whatever his show was, and that was the first time I realized, like, people are really getting into these types of things.
Yeah, Food Network is extremely popular.
Jesus Christ.
I've never and I'm not ripping it, I've just never on purpose watched something like that.
Oh, Chopped.
Oh, Chopped is great,
Chopped
too.
is so good.
Yeah.
I like to pause it before they make their dishes and think about what I would make.
Oh, I'm so terrible at that. You give me 5 random ingredients and say go, I'd be like, oh. Can I get another hour, please?
You guys are junkies.
Yeah.
I mean, just smooth up junkies. We were just talking yesterday about all the television people watch. Jesus criminy. You guys just rolled through 7 different cooking shows that you watch. And you always have everything. You always know what's going on with the true crime shows and the right, Josh? This is like a sickness.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
It's a friggin' sickness.
Fitter Bob Jesus calls it food porn, all those shows.
Yeah, sure.
Well, isn't also the appeal of like a Kitchen Nightmares? I apologize if I'm getting the show wrong. Where the dude just yells at everybody and makes people cry? Is that the show?
That's Gordon Ramsay, yeah. I'm not sure what show he's on.
That's more Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, Hell's Kitchen.
Yelling at the chefs, where he calls the one girl an idiot sandwich.
Okay, I saw that
Puts
clip.
bread over her ears.
Puts the bread over her
That
ears.
was pretty damn funny.
That was
Now
great.
call yourself an idiot sandwich.
That was good.
I'm an idiot sandwich.
How has he not been sued? Maybe he has.
He comes across like a pretty big jerk. Maybe if you watch the show, there's some redeeming qualities, but man.
I wonder how he is in real life. I bet he's just the nicest guy
he
ever.
Seems very, very nice. I follow him on Instagram and Twitter and everything.
How do I put a stop to this, Josh? what do I say? How do I?
Their passion is fascinating to me.
It's like I'm listening into a conversation in Japanese, you know, and I want to get involved, but I have no idea the language that's being spoken
Yeah,
right now.
don't even get me started on his pans. I want those hex clad so bad. They're so expensive.
They're so expensive, dude. You got to get another mortgage for
They're
those.
like $600 for like 4 pans.
The oddball Jesus said Gordon Ramsay is actually a hell of a sweet dude. You'd think he'd have to be,
Yeah,
right?
he's
To get
playing,
away with some of
he's
that
playing a
stuff.
character.
Sure. He can be pretty funny, though, in the promos.
Back to dream jobs real quick. Yard Dog Jesus has texted the program, and he says when he was a little boy, he wanted to be a Playboy magazine photographer.
Boy, that's
Smart.
those are jobs you just never, well, at least I had never considered.
Right.
But that's a job.
Yeah, you could do that.
We've met one adult photographer. Josh and I met him years ago, and he was really creepy.
Yeah.
He was really creepy, and it gave me the thought that they're all... I mean, this dude was... I figured it would be very professional and just click, okay, turn this way, click. Because we were kind of there while he was taking the pictures, right, Josh?
Yeah.
And...
It was very creepy, that, like you said.
I mean, come on, dude. He's just breathing heavy, and he's sweating.
It
and
kind of looked like he was doing it all for him, not really for the job.
Yeah, I thought we should have turned him in.
Yeah, that's weird.
We got a guy that works here who has a passion for photography. He's not goofy. He doesn't
he's
give me
normal.
he doesn't give me creepy
No, not at all.
vibes.
It's great.
What, adult photography? This guy?
Oh, I don't know if he does any of that, but he just does photography in general.
So they're not all bad.
He does a lot of landscapes and stuff. I've seen like his other pictures. They're really pretty.
Well, there's landscaping involved in that adult photography.
Yes, some bush trimming, to be
Trimming it up.
specific.
Here's the deal. We're very excited for the day in general, but especially because AEW champion Kris Statlander going to be visiting us around 7:30 this morning. We got plenty more to cover. We shall break real quick and come back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Did you know that Standard Heating has over 700 years of combined experience in the heating business? Now that's a lot of brain power. Hi, Corey here. As the call center manager at Standard, I'm proud to be able to work for a company that provides top solutions and experiences for our customers. Ashley, tell us more.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
How wrestling really works and how you get the ratings. Eric Bischoff and Conrad Thompson explain on 83 Weeks.
Too much time is spent discussing talent's age. The younger demo is just as excited about a Paul Heyman or a John Cena or an Undertaker or Becky Lynch, or I don't care what their birth certificate says, they're going to draw a younger demo because they're fun to watch and they're great entertainers.
83 Weeks on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Stupid news on the half-assed morning show.
Keep an eye on me, Cubby. I might not make it.
Oh, no. What's going on?
Keep an eye on me, that's all.
You didn't sleep last night.
You know how you get ready for a morning show broadcast, which includes a stupid news report, and then later an interview with an AEW champion? You know how you get properly ready for that? You don't sleep a solitary minute the night before.
It's a great idea.
God.
Take that to heart, kids. Got a big day? Don't sleep.
I feel like a bag of ass over here. Just keep one eye on me. If I start to dip off to the right or left, catch me before I fall.
I'll check on you, no problem.
As limited as I feel right now, I am pumped to tell you about a brand new style of derelict behavior in today's Stupid News Report. Right here from the get-go, I got a story where I'm fairly sure we've never before discussed this type of oddball behavior. In the decades, Josh, the decades we've been dumping stupid news stories on our listeners' sorry asses. First time.
Sorry asses.
And it's weird. By God, it is. A 64-year-old Iowegian man is in trouble for painting his neighbor's plants. Painting his neighbor's plants is what he did. Doug Kustra is this wacky ass's name. He got arrested last Friday.
I wonder if the plants were dying. He didn't like the looks of them. You know how some people will paint their lawns, that special lawn paint? Have you seen that before?
Oh, no, I didn't know people did that.
Yeah, not as much here as maybe out west.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I had a neighbor that did it once.
I've considered it.
I have too, after he did his. I thought,
did it look kind of like a fake hairdo? Was it obvious how fake it was?
Some parts definitely did. And I don't know if it's because of a different fescue that might have been in part of his property.
I like when you drop the lingo on us.
He taught me that word, did he?
So your neighbor had trouble. His lawn was dry, yellowy, brown kind of a thing, right?
And he's this is former neighbor, but yeah, he is
and he painted
really into it.
Green.
It was like a spray can, basically, for grass.
No kidding. That's fascinating. I don't know exactly what the hell this cat was up to painting his neighbor's plants, but it's a first, right, for everybody? I told you it was a first.
Yeah.
Never heard of this.
Never heard of that before.
His mugshot's up on 93x.com.
Is he cute?
It's a pretty good one.
The local Iowegian police. Oh, my damn. Josh is
He looks
showing
like
me.
a wizard.
Oh, my.
He looks like the type of guy that would paint plants.
Josh is showing me a picture of this 64-year-old Iowegian man, Dougie Kustra. You know who he looks like? Artemis Pyle. Who can tell me who Artemis Pyle is? Go!
Artemis Pyle?
Artemis Pyle!
I got nothing for you.
651-989-9393.
Yeah, Leonard Skinner, but I mean, let me see if it looks, let me look him up.
Well, he looks like Artemis Pyle.
Kind of. His face is too covered, but he's got the hair and the beard.
Drummer for Lynyrd Skynyrd. I think he's the last one living out of that core group that crashed in the airplane.
Yeah, he's 75.
It's the last one living, isn't he? Unless I'm forgetting somebody. By damn. Okay. This guy's in trouble for painting his neighbor's plants. They've got security footage of him walking onto his neighbor's property and applying paint to some of their plants. The plants were worth $40. Nobody knows why he did this, but it's not the first time he's vandalized someone's property in a bizarre way. Earlier this year, he got arrested 3 times in the span of 6 days.
That's a hell of a run right there.
Oh, God. I don't know if it was the same neighbor or not, but back in May, he dismantled someone's porch lights, and then he went ahead and turned on the spigots outside to flood their yard up.
That's rude.
He's got problems, this one. Cops think he also effed around in the neighborhood and removed a bunch of flags that were part of a Memorial Day display. He also trespassed on someone else's property. He broke a motion sensor light at their place, and he did the water spigot gimmick on those folks, too. He's been charged for all this. He's 64 years old, acting like that. Looking like Artemis Pyle.
You did it again, didn't you? You left the water running, didn't you? What's wrong with you? Why do you do that? I told you not to do it.
Harry, it's our calling card. All the great ones leave their mark. We're the wet bandits.
You're sick. You know that?
There you go.
About that time of year.
Oh, yeah, for a little Home Alone?
Yep.
Already heard Christmas music on the radio, like I was saying yesterday.
It's a nightmare.
I love it.
It's an absolute nightmare, and it's wrong.
I love the music, but come on, dude. We haven't even hit Thanksgiving yet.
It's stupid. Folks need to get a grip. When I was a young kid, you guys know this, when I was a young kid, my dad surprised us all, me and my twin brother and my older sister. My dad surprised us all by bringing home 3 baby ducklings and a fat-ass little gosling.
Yeah.
And the old man said, you little pot lickers, you need something to keep you busy. Here you go. Raise these little bastards up. It was a hell of a lot of fun. The story has a dark ending. I won't tell you about that because it makes Ashley very sad.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But it was a fun time for us, raising up the ducklings. Here's a guy out there in stupid Australia who tried to bring a critter home to show his kids, and it damn near killed him. And it could have killed one of his kids as well. It wasn't ducklings. Ducklings rarely kill children.
Rarely?
Maybe if they carry some wicked disease, they
some
can get
bird flu or something.
But this guy could have got himself killed dead, and he could have had his kids end up dead as well. The Australian fella ended up laid up in the hospital after he brought home a snake that he found. Wanted to show the kids. He believed the snake was non-venomous, but it wasn't, and he found that out shortly after the snake bit his ass.
Seems like something you'd want to be sure of and not just, fairly certain.
Speculate.
He thought he was 100% sure.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Yeah, he was. He was, I'll explain, a local snake catcher by the name of Ray McGibbon.
I would think he's qualified.
Mm-hmm. He's just a guy who told the story.
Right.
Yeah, he told the story on stupid Facebook. This didn't happen to old Ray McGibbon. He's just a storyteller. Super Dad that I was telling you about before, he was out on a hike. It was a stupid idea in the first place. Dude saw what he thought was a diamond python, a non-venomous constrictor type of snake, and decided to bring it home to show his ungrateful Australian children. Shortly after he brought the damn thing home to the family, the snake got aggravated, and it bit Dad's hand. But he wasn't bothered by that, because he was so sure that this snake had a harmless bite. But not long after the dude got bit, he started to feel like garbage. And his hand swelled up to the size of your mother's ass. And he also started spraying vomit all over the house like Gary from Team America World Police. The vomit spraying, Josh, lasted 3 hours.
Oh.
Yeah, that's emergency room time.
Definitely.
You got
It's
nothing
hilarious.
left in you.
Hilarious that it wasn't until after 3 hours of continuous vomiting that dude finally gave in and went to the hospital, but that's how we're built. Now here's where the snake expert I was telling you about came into play, old Ray McGibbon. Medics contacted Ray so they could positively ID the snake. Ray said this is a broad-headed snake, which is a venomous sumbitch. It closely resembles the non-venomous diamond python that the dad mistook it for. Dad thought he had grabbed the non-venomous snake. And the word is he's lucky he didn't drop dead in front of his kids. He made it home from the hospital okay. Dad did. Everything seems to be fine aside from an erection that he can't get the dummy down. He can't get it won't. The killer snake was returned to the woods, free to attack harmless bunnies and things like that. Free to live out its evil snake life. The snake catcher, Ray, he dumped a warning on folks. He upped and said, if you see a snake or any reptile in the wild, admire it in its own habitat. Please do not try to capture it or take it home.
Yeah, I would have, especially in Australia, I would just assume whatever you touch is going to, or at least wants to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would think like an Australian would be very versed in something like this. Just because they deal with it.
Yeah, you'd think so.
It's a cool snake, I thought. And the dude, the snake catcher guy, looked like what you'd expect a snake catcher to look like.
Does he look a little bit like Artemis Pyle?
Well, just barely if you consider, if you're saying everyone with long hair and a beard looks like Artemis Pyle, then yeah.
Josh, you probably already knew this. 21, you were just saying, you'd assume that everything in Australia could kill you dead, probably because you've heard this before. 21 of the 25 most venomous snakes in the world live in that damned Australia. 21 out of the 25 most dangerous. The other 4 are in Anoka, I'm told.
That's one of those places, Australia. I would love to go there because, I mean, it's beautiful and all that, but I could never do it because of the fear. I'd be afraid constantly.
Oh, I'm so scared of those giant spiders that you can find in the toilet.
Oh my gosh, or whenever that, I think it's once a year or something, when all those spider webs are everywhere.
They'll grab you by the genitals and just haul you into oblivion, is what they'll do.
And good luck getting rid of that erection Nick was talking about.
Right. That's going to be there a while.
They'll haul you into Australian oblivion. You'll never be seen again. I'm sure we could sit here all damn day and trade stories of what our dogs have swallowed. Some dogs will just go ahead and eat anything. Next up in today's Stupid News Report is a dog breed called a Bernedoodle. And it had to be rushed to the veterinary hospital because the dog ate up 3 of her owner's socks.
Those are cute dogs.
The dog's name is Molly. She is a dumb as the day is long, 10-month-old Bernedoodle dog. Molly's owner, a gal called Carrie Lee, told the local news in her neighborhood that the dog looked as if she was trying to puke, but couldn't quite get her done. You see what I'm saying? They took Molly to see the veterinarian, and when they x-rayed this dog, it showed that Molly had, quote, a large bundle of foreign material in her guts. So they put her down, and not humanely.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you read the full story.
Oh, you're right. The vets were able to see that Molly had eaten 3 individual socks. And it was a tricky procedure, but they were able to pull the socks out the dog's ass. The puppy's doing fine. Her owner said she's now back to her bubbly self. But check this out. I always thought dogs went ahead and ate garbage just out of stupidity, boredom, curiosity. But the story here goes on to say that there are dogs who have the compulsive disorder called pica, which we've covered here before on this radio show. Pica is an obsessive situation where you swallow non-food items. We've had conversations about people who eat hair and nails and screws and Band-Aids and
pennies and stuff.
Pennies and butt plugs. Stress and anxiety are common triggers. I never in a million years would have thought, oh, well, the dog has pica. I thought that was strictly a human problem.
Yeah, I thought it was just dogs being dogs.
Mm-hmm. Someone who knows this and that about dogs threw this into the story. If your dog is excessively focused on eating socks or other non-food items, it's best to consult with a vet. Oh, I thought that was going to go in a different direction. It was real simple. If your dog eats garbage, go see the vet. For whatever reason, I thought there was going to be much more of a breakthrough type statement there, but it didn't happen.
They get on. What do they?
Well,
what
they
do
also
they do
mentioned
for them?
a vet or a behaviorist.
Oh, a behaviorist. And that just was very simple. If your arm comes off, go to the doctor. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we know that. Dogs have pica. Wow. One of my bros had a big, fat-headed, dumb lab. And he was real concerned about the dog because 4 or 5 days went by and the poor bastard wasn't making a deuce. The dog would go out into the yard and get into that position and nothing would happen.
Oh, that's the worst.
And my buddy, probably because he's cheap, he didn't want to go to the vet. I'll work this out. We'll figure it out. The dog just constipated. So he's given the dog different kinds of foods to try to get its belly, rumbling and blast this problem out. But it just wouldn't happen. He made an appointment with the vet and was loading up the car to go to the vet. And he let the dog outside one more time to try to make a deuce so we can avoid, spending $900.
Yeah.
And he went with the dog out into the yard. He took a real close look. If you don't mind me saying. He took and he saw there was something sort of hanging out the dog's ass. And that's when it occurred to him. It was a tube sock. And he pulled that ripcord. Oh. He just said, F it, I'm going to go for it. And he pulled that ripcord, and he said that dog unleashed the fury of 1,000 dogs. And he also said he'll never forget the grateful look on that dog's face.
I'd imagine.
When the dog looked back at him as if to say, you are the owner of the year for helping me out with that damn situation. The dumb bastard ate a tube sock.
A veterinarian has texted in and said they removed a pair of underwear from a dog's stomach once, presented the underwear to the owners. Turns out they didn't belong to the wife, and that's how she found out about the husband's affair.
No, that's awful.
Dude,
and the text goes on to say the wife got the dog in the divorce.
That is the coolest story of the day.
Arizona She just said, good morning. We just spent $700 because our lab swallowed a wine cap. We don't drink wine. I wonder where the yard? Where did it
from?
Yeah.
Neighbor's trash can. I'll be damned. The dog pooped the wrong lady's panties. Those aren't mine. Well, how can you tell? They're covered in dog crap. They're not mine! You cheating son of a bitch. That's beautiful. Now, this is one of the greatest stories in American history. And folks are still gathering together to honor this moment. I wish I would have been there. In the coastal city called Florence, Oregon, folks got together just this past Sunday afternoon to mark the 53-year anniversary of the November 12th, 1970 exploding whale incident.
That was a smell beyond all description. We said, what do you want us to do? Well, they're going to dispose of this whale at the coast. We want you to go down and cover it. I said, really? And they said, they're going to use dynamite. I said, okay, we'll go.
Mostly what we focus on is bringing the community in, education, and talking about history a little bit. This is a very historical event. We want to make sure that the whale is remembered.
Yes.
There are the folks of Florence, Oregon, discussing this historic day. If you don't know this story, listen up. I guarantee you'll enjoy it. Folks in Florence, Oregon, say They know their community will always be remembered by the botched disposal of a sperm whale that washed ashore in Florence all those damn years ago, way back in 1900 plus 70. A local television reporter by the name of Paul Linman was sent out to cover the attempted disposal of the whale, and you heard Paul in the audio there.
I've got the original clip, too, when we get there.
Oh, wonderful. Mr. Linman said he had his doubts about the assignment. What are you talking about? You sending me out to cover the disposal of a whale? Why? You heard him in the audio. He asked his bosses at the television station, what do you want us to do out there? And the boss said, well, they're going to dispose of this whale, and we want you to cover it. And he said, really? Why? And they said, they're going to use dynamite. And he said, hell yes, I'm going.
Heck yeah.
And when they set off that effing dynamite, it created one of the biggest gong shows of all time.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing so the scavengers, seagulls, and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Our camera stopped rolling immediately after the blast. The humor of the entire situation suddenly gave way to a run for survival as huge chunks of whale blubber fell everywhere. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whale.
Did you hear all the whale chunks landing
Yes.
there? I didn't know if that would come across on the radio or not.
Yeah.
That was beautiful audio, Josh. Absolutely perfect.
The explosion is massive, too.
And a few people have texted in. I don't know why they didn't just use a forklift.
I've seen that Family Guy
because
episode.
It doesn't work. That's
Wasn't
why.
that Family Guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so brutal.
Whale carcass was sent flying as far as the eye could see. Spectators, and as you heard, reporters got a face full of rotted whale insides. Cars were damaged by the falling whale blubber. A dude 3/4 of a mile away got smoked in the back of the knee by a softball-sized slab of whale pecker. It hit him in the back of the knee. He was just working in his yard. So,
he's going about his day.
He goes down. That's whale pecker. The sight and smell will never be forgotten by the folks who were there. The smell was unbelievable. And I've never watched the video. How is the video, Josh?
I've actually never seen it either.
I just watched it for the first time. It's the amount of sand and whale chunks going everywhere is massive. Just a huge cloud of whale and sand.
So they still honor the whale's memory every November 12th. They call it Exploding Whale Day. And you heard some of the comments there in Josh's audio of the event organizers. They want to make sure the whale is always remembered. One of the residents there, a gal by the name of Connie Robertson, has personal ties to Exploding Whale Day. Her grandfather was one of the poor bastards that had to clean up the remaining blubber.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure people had to do that, huh? Didn't even think about that.
I bet that sucked.
Yeah, but that didn't smell good either.
Well,
They said it was terrible.
I picked the wrong year to sign up to work for the city.
Yeah.
The day they explode a sperm whale on the beach. Normally all we're doing is staring at a pothole or leaning on a shovel. Now I'm scooping up. All right, there you go.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
You said, I see the bright lights in New York. I want to go there. My old pal, Kevin Durant. It's going to work, the big three. And all after 1 year, you wanted out. You realized, oh my gosh, I took this guy for granted, the guy that believed in me. I went back with Daryl Morey. They traded Ben Simmons for you. How did they pull that off? And you know what? You went there and you got a partner who got the MVP. He won the MVP. And what did you say afterwards? You said, they didn't hand me the reins. You're the point guard. You were holding the reins. And what did you do when you had the reins? You scored 9 points in Game 7 against Boston. You blew a 3-2 series lead. They fired their coach. Not good enough. You broke up with your guy, believed in you again. You said, the bright lights of L.A., that's where I want to go. Listen, James, have you ever had those friends who had bad roommates? Over and over, they complained about their bad roommates. This guy's terrible. The bad roommate here. They never thought to be self-aware enough that they're the bad roommate. They're the problem. Hey, James, you're the problem. If this doesn't work this year in this system with this team, then you're going to go and point fingers at everybody else, and you're going to go back home and you're going to start swiping right for another team, and there's not going to be anybody left. Because, James, you're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem.
Dang.
Dude.
Awesome.
That guy went for it.
Yeah, I really liked that.
There's a guy, basketball announcer. What club does he cover, Josh?
He's an analyst for Bally Sports Southwest.
Oh,
and this
right.
was before the Clippers-Mavericks game.
Okay.
So I don't know if he calls for a particular team or...
It must be the Mavericks.
That'd be my guess.
That's right. I think I read that. That dude just absolutely eviscerated James Harden right there. And he did it in such a calm fashion.
Yeah.
He's like a cold-blooded killer. He wrote that up.
Good points. It was a good metaphor.
Oh, yeah. Must have wrote that up in the hotel room the night before, and boy, he nailed it.
Unfortunately, Bally Sports pulled it. They pulled the video. I guess they must have got some backlash.
For God's sake. Yeah, we can't hurt James Harden's feelings. He's a very sensitive... That's great. Okay, I got to get going here. But I had a couple of quick text messages I wanted to throw your way. We were talking about dogs. Some of us have had dogs that will eat every damn thing. They'll eat anything and everything, right?
Yep.
I've had them. You've had them. Got a couple of great text messages on dogs that will just up and eat anything. Here is Natural Light Jesus, formerly Bush Light Jesus. He had a Shih Tzu that ate the crotches out of his wife's underwears all the time.
Yep, little dogs always do that.
My
Got a bra
dachshund-
eater.
Do you?
Never a crotch out of underwear eater.
Your son or your dog?
Pardon me now?
Your son or your dog?
You're talking about my son, asking if my son eats bras.
Yeah.
All right, just wanted to make sure that's what you were asking. I'm talking about a dog.
Okay.
My little dachshund Ozzy, God rest his soul, after 19 years as my life partner. When he was a puppy, he liked to eat the crotches out of gals' drawers, up and down and all over town. Okay, Natural Light Jesus. His Shih Tzu ate his wife's panties. He'd eat the crotches smooth out of them all the time. One day, Natural Light Jesus and his wife came home, and there was a pair of tiny, skimpy thong underwears destroyed on the floor. And the wife says, "Those aren't mine." And the wife, Natural Light Jesus' wife, is accusing him of cheating.
Oof.
There's this little pair of underwear, thong underwear. I don't wear thong underwears. Whose are those? And Natural Light Jesus, he said, I don't know. Fighting for 3 days. She's accusing him of adultery.
Oh, 3-day fight. Exhausting.
Finally, their 14-year-old daughter admitted that those tiny little thong underwears were hers.
No.
Natural Light Jesus says, knowing that my 14-year-old daughter was wearing those little underwears, that was worse than the accusations of adultery.
I could understand.
Yeah.
Actually, to your point, though, my bra-eating dog did cost me a lot of money.
Yeah, I'd prefer underwear than bras. Oh my gosh.
It was expensive. Surprisingly so.
Yep.
Now, listen to this one. Another listener says, my dog had to get surgery because he had intestinal blockage. It wasn't uncommon to find Hot Wheels cars in his turd piles. But this time around, he had worms, too, presumably from eating other animals' poop. And then the worms got tangled with the hair binders in his stomach, the Legos in his stomach, and the Hot Wheels cars, and a pair of my wife's drawers. They had to cut this dog open from rib cage to nutsack. They found 2 blockages. $3,500 later, our dog was healed up. 2 weeks later, I found another pair of underwears in his turd pile.
No.
He clearly learned nothing.
It's weird. We had a dog like that, too. He ate a wooden handrail. He ate drywall right off the wall. Water softener salt. Traveler's checks that we got for our wedding.
You're making me hungry with all these delicious items. Okay, real quick, I got to get the hell going. Last night's ball game on Monday Night Football, we're going to save this conversation for when Randy Shaver jumps in, because normally Monday Night Football is stupid. This was so much damn fun. We want to save it for Shaver. The Wolves are going to go out tonight and try to beat those smarmy pricks on the Golden State Warriors roster again. They beat them on Sunday night. They'll go again tonight, not till 9 o'clock. for God's sake, on what they call BSN Plus. This is one of those mid-season tournament games. We'll get into that. Plus, a visit from AEW's TBS champion, Kris Statlander, is coming up in about a half hour. But stick around. Josh's News is next.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Did you know that Standard Heating has over 700 years of combined experience in the heating business? Now that's a lot of brain power. Hi, Corey here. As the call center manager at Standard, I'm proud to be able to work for a company that provides top solutions and experiences for our customers. Ashley, tell us more.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
Former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show.
Tennessee Congressman Tim Burchett. Where do the majority of UAP sightings happen?
Yeah, military installations, but I couch that. I mean, if they're going to fly here and check something out, they're going to see where our best and brightest are, I would assume. They asked me about seeing any UFOs in Washington, D.C., and I said, no. I said, there's no intelligent life around here.
The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
He's put himself in a position where he's going to lose his freedom possibly, and then his career being a law enforcement officer is in jeopardy.
A D.C. police officer was arrested for allegedly driving his marked police cruiser while drunk over the weekend. And he was on his way to the scene of a traffic stop involving his girlfriend, who was also suspected of DUI. Officer John Bruley, an 11-year department veteran assigned to the Special Operations Division, was arrested 3:30 a.m. Saturday. Police said he rolled up as officers conducted a drunk driving stop of a woman. The woman who was pulled over at first said she was on the phone with her boyfriend, a D.C. police officer. According to the report, Bewley then who was not in uniform, pulled up with his overhead lights on and told the female driver to leave, yelling at the suspect and telling her to leave the scene with him. He ignored officers' commands to stay away. Police then noted he had a strong odor of alcohol and asked if he would submit to a sobriety test. He refused to take the test and was placed under arrest. Police said Internal Affairs immediately revoked the officer's police powers, and that incident is under investigation.
That's an ugly scene, Cubby.
How stupid can you get?
There's a sense of entitlement there.
That's got to be it, right? I mean, I'd imagine you got to be pretty good to do what he does. Mm-hmm. I would hope, at least. And that's quite the bad decision. Maybe you're right. He thought, I'm going to get away with this. I'm a cop.
Yeah, I'm special.
3 people in the nation's capital messed with the wrong SUV over the weekend. The unlucky thieves unknowingly attempted to break into an unmarked Secret Service vehicle. Secret Service agents on a protection assignment opened fire at the 3 imbeciles as they tried to break in. The agents were on a protection detail late Sunday night when they saw the 3 people breaking a window of the parked and unoccupied SUV. One of the agents opened fire. No one was struck by that gunfire. The 3 people were seen fleeing in a car, and then Secret Service said it put out a regional bulletin to be on the lookout. Washington has seen a significant rise in the number of carjackings and car thefts this year. Police have reported more than 750 carjackings and more than 6,000 reports of stolen vehicles in the district. A Texas congressman was carjacked near the Capitol last month by 3 armed assailants who stole his car. Violent crime in Washington has also been on the rise this year, up more than 40% compared with last year. Just in February, a Minnesota congresswoman was assaulted in her D.C. apartment building, suffering bruises while escaping serious injury. Christ. I've heard that's a dangerous place.
Yeah?
Yeah, same here.
Can you imagine finding out you tried to steal a Secret Service vehicle? A driver in St. Louis fended off an axe-wielding would-be carjacker with prayer. The victim was exiting his car when the suspect, Rommel Taylor, brandished a weapon. The victim's response, "Will you pray with me?" Taylor approached the victim's Audi with the large axe and told the victim to give him his keys. That's when the victim turned to prayer. Last week, Taylor was charged with attempted robbery in the first degree. Stopped him right in his tracks.
Let's pray about this.
Yeah, and it worked.
Let's pray about this, sure.
A chef is in custody after allegedly stabbing a fellow employee at a restaurant in Pennsylvania Saturday. According to police, the incident happened just before 4 p.m. at Bar Luca, where officers were dispatched to the restaurant for reports of a stabbing. Upon arrival, police were told there was an altercation between the restaurant's chef and another employee, which escalated. The chef then stabbed the victim and was arrested a block away. By press time, no further information was released on the incident. I can tell you, working in restaurants, I saw some chefs go off on other employees, certainly. No stabbings.
Yeah. I loved when that happened.
So, I mean, here I thought was in the late 90s, early 2000s, I thought it was wild around here. People yelling, throwing things. But
yeah, there was some craziness around here.
Oh, the tempers were high with that high-pressure situation, for sure.
When you were cooking for a living?
I wasn't cooking, but like I was a prep cook.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, I can't say I was cooking.
Did you ever stab anybody?
I never did. I had to use the child scissors. They didn't trust me.
Cutting carrots with child scissors.
Police in Memphis are looking for a masked man who jumped through a Taco Bell drive-thru window and used a metal grinder to break into a safe. This is the third Tennessee Taco Bell targeted by criminals over the last month, and each time the thieves entered the fast food restaurant through the drive-thru window.
Well, they got to do something about that.
Yeah. A drive-thru employee mistook five-finger death punches Ivan Moody for another rock star over the weekend, disturbed David Draymond. The encounter took place in the drive-thru of a Taco John's, where the employee at the window recognized Moody and asked if he was in a band, but they confused him with Draymond. Moody then took a video of the conversation and asked the employee to repeat what they had said, and they were a good sport about it.
So I just pulled up to Taco John's, and this young lady right here just asked me if I was in a band, and I was like, yes. And she said, I look just like who?
The lead singer from Disturbed.
I love you, Dave.
Moody tagged Disturbed in his TikTok video and added the hashtags "can't get upset" and "I'm a fan too" in the caption. That's pretty funny. We talked about that before, where certain people go through drive-thrus and they get recognized, but for the wrong celebrity. Tony Hawk.
Happens to him all the time.
Yeah.
But it seems like most people say, gosh, you look just like Tony Hawk.
And they're like, oh, you look just like Tony Hawk. Oh, and you skateboard too? What a weird coincidence.
The Suffolk County Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals is looking for leads in a series of, quote, barbaric suspected animal sacrifices.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
After several mutilated birds were found hold on, how do you say that? Ritualistically.
Yeah.
Did I get it?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You nailed it.
Displayed at 2 Long Island cemeteries. The first such incident was reported in August after decapitated chickens were found in front of a headstone at Old Baptist Cemetery. Then October 17th, a similar disturbing discovery was made at Union Cemetery, where investigators found the remains of a beheaded chicken, a rooster, and a white dove.
They choke them first, and then they...
That's the way to do it. The animals' bodies were placed in a circular pattern indicative of what the SPCA detectives called a ritualistic sacrifice.
We knew that we were looking at a case of animal sacrifice. Finding dead animals or decapitated animals, that's something that'll never go out of their head.
In the most recent incident, a man walking his dog near the entrance to Union Cemetery on Wednesday alerted authorities when he discovered a bag containing a beheaded chicken and chunks of coconut. Upon further investigation of the scene, detectives also found a variety of fruits, vegetables, and candles, as well as the skeletal remains of a goat head. In response to the incident, the Suffolk County SPCA is offering a $2,000 reward, leading to information that will get the arrest and conviction of the individual or individuals responsible.
That's different.
It's messed up.
I'll admit that's pretty different.
That freaked me out a little bit. A circus lion escaped and was seen roaming around heavily populated streets for hours in a suburb of Rome Saturday before it was sedated and captured by authorities.
A lion?
Yeah, a circus lion. The town's mayor confirmed in a Facebook post the lion had been caught hours after the alarm had been raised. The operation to bring the animal back into captivity involved Italy State Police, local police, the military police, and local volunteers. Footage shot from a police helicopter using an infrared camera showed the lion named Kimba strolling around a grassy area.
Kimba.
Mobile phone footage posted to social media showed the animal quickly but calmly walking down a residential street, ignoring the cars and houses on either side. An animal handler at the circus said the 8-year-old Kimba was not a threat to the public. This story comes 4 months after a rather more chaotic hunt for an escaped lion happened in Germany. After hundreds of police officers spent hours searching using thermal imaging cameras and helicopters, police finally admitted there was, in fact, no lion. Apparently, the grainy mobile phone footage, which had triggered the panic, likely showed a wild boar.
Either way, I'm staying indoors.
Yeah, I bet a wild boar could do some damage.
Yeah, those things are crazy.
Police in Florida are looking for a man accused of exposing himself at a convenience store. Marion County Sheriff's officials posted on social media asking for the public's help identifying the, quote, man who thought he would swing into a convenience store, grab a couple of thirst quenchers, and expose himself to the clerk before leaving, the post read. No details were released on what day or time the incident happened or at what store it took place.
Another one of those dong showers.
Yeah, and another one here. This one out of Ohio. It happened at a dollar store. An unidentified male in his 20s saw a woman shopping for beauty supplies, and when she bent down to look at an item, she felt someone unusually close to her. No. When she turned her head, she saw a man standing next to her face with his erect wiener exposed.
Gross, dude.
God help us all.
She screamed for the cashier, who called police. The accused vehemently, words are hard, vehemently denied the allegations and hastily left the store without making any purchases. Initial attempts to identify the suspect through store surveillance proved unsuccessful due to the unclear visual, but the incident was caught on camera. The cashier, familiar with the alleged harasser as a frequent visitor to the store, offered a possible identification. As of now, that incident remains under investigation.
She knew the guy.
She was familiar. After being caught having sex on a Florida causeway in front of children and other witnesses, a remorseful woman told cops it was always a dream of hers to engage in such a public tryst.
Is that right?
While her male companion showed zero remorse when arrested, police said. After receiving multiple 911 calls about 9 p.m. Friday, sheriff's deputies discovered a couple having, quote, fully nude sexual intercourse in the presence of victims, which included a pair of juveniles. On the side of the causeway, cops found 55-year-old Sarah Fazerkis and 60-year-old Robert Clark fully nude on top of one another.
It's always the folks who are just approaching their 60s that love this public bang out.
It's never the people you want.
Well, I'll tell you what. Sarah?
Yeah.
Hubba.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Very attractive. Cops say that Clark was on his back with his genitals fully exposed. A witness described the pair's encounter as, quote, crack to sack going to town.
Wow, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
Crack to sack.
That's a new one. I'll put in my arsenal there.
That kind of bothers me for some reason. I don't approve of that.
Crack to sack?
Yeah, most of that stuff I love. For whatever reason, that's throwing me.
While being taken into custody, the woman stated this was always a dream of hers, referring to having sexual intercourse on the causeway. A deputy reported that surrounded by water, the causeway offers spectacular views. Clark, cops say, showed zero remorse that multiple juveniles had witnessed this act. He reportedly declared that, the kid should have been at home and not on the causeway. Along with an exposure of sexual organs count, the woman was also hit with a felony narcotics charge.
Are you comfortable with the crack to sack saying, Josh?
It cracked me up because, pardon the crack line there, but I'd never heard that before.
It's good.
Okay, maybe I'll change my mind about it, but at this point, it kind of turns my stomach.
The driver of a McLaren 720S, a sports car worth as much as $300,000, crashed into the side of an office building in Portland, Oregon at approximately 2:54 a.m. Sunday. The driver was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No passengers were said to have been in the car at the time of the incident. No official word on the cause of that expensive crash. $300,000 and he crashed it.
That sucks.
There's an early Black Friday sale going on now for the 93X Twin City Takeover, starring Stained, I Prevail, Asking Alexandria, and Dayseeker. This happens Saturday, May 4th, Xcel Energy Center. During this limited time sale, pick up a 4-pack of tickets for $99. Use the code STEELS, STEALS, STEELS at 93x.com. The offer is valid only while supplies last.
I hear you.
Blink-182 drummer Travis Barker, 48.
Hey, wow, he's 48.
He's going to celebrate by not wearing a shirt today.
He never wears a shirt. He's never owned one shirt. Former Boston Red Sox pitcher Curt Schilling, 57. Patrick Warburton, the actor who played Putty on Seinfeld and voices Joe on Family Guy, 59 today. Congratulations to Leather Scrotum Jesus, starting a new segment of Flight School, and he's excited about it. Happy 36th wedding anniversary to Smells Like Ammonia Jesus from Hauling Ammonia Jesus. I don't have a name attached to this text, but it says, I'd like to give a birthday shout-out to my little boogeyman, turning the big 08. Also turning the big 08 today, happy birthday to Jace from Dad, a.k.a. Zombie Foot Jesus, and that's 93X News.
KARE 11's Randy Shaver.
On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
From Long Island, New York City, is the reigning and defending TBS champion, Kris Statlander.
Great reaction for our TBS champion, Kris Statlander, as she makes her way to the ring to face this challenge. There you see, using the American Sign Language, more than a woman. She certainly is. She is our second ever TBS champion.
Yeah, today's a special day. It's not often we get an in-studio visit like this one. No offense, Jungle Jane. No offense to Janel Klein, but this is very special. And it also allows us to put Randy Shaver on the back burner for a little while. Hi, Randy.
Hello.
Hello.
Knock you down a peg or two. Janel Klein is here, too. But this is really special. Joining us live in studio this morning, AEW TBS champion Kris Statlander. Hello, Kris.
Morning.
Hello.
My damn, Kris and all of the terrific AEW roster will be in town here in a couple of weeks. It's Wednesday, November 29th at Target Center. Dynamite right here in Target Center. Got to warn you from the get-go, Kris, we're big-time wrestling dorks.
That's totally okay. I love that.
How's it been in that studio so far? The guy sitting across from you is the world's biggest wrestling fan, and he's been going nuts since you agreed to come in.
Look at that Muppet across from you.
Look at my fingers. My fingers are shaking right now.
Hey, it's no big deal. It's been pretty fun over here. I'm just trying to find out where everybody is, see who's talking.
Yeah,
with so many rooms.
We've got you flanked. Sorry about that. You're right.
You got to keep your head on a swivel on this program. We're coming at you from all angles. But the guy across the soundboard from you is borderline dangerous.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Everyone's after me for my title. Got a target on my back at all times.
Right.
No escaping it.
He is wetting his pants right now, so forgive him if something comes off weird. Could you squat him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Dude, we were talking about that promo you had where you were squatting the reporter, and that was absolutely hilarious. We played some audio from that. It was great.
Yeah, I can squat all of you. Not at the same time, but I can do it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there anyone here that you couldn't? But no, the answer is no.
Nope, there's a will, there's a way.
Waffle, how much do you weigh?
155.
155. You could squat that.
Twisted steel.
Of course.
We're a light crowd. We really are. Josh, you were telling me your weight recently?
Yeah.
Dump it on me.
Well, I put on about 5 pounds, but I was 139 when I told you. So now I'm just about 6 pounds. I'm just under 150. I'm sorry, just under 145.
Josh,
that is.
We weigh the same.
What's that?
We weigh the same.
We do?
Yeah.
Well, Kris.
Well, I'm a weakling.
That's awesome.
I was shocked by that. I really was. 139 a couple of weeks ago? Well, you shouldn't be embarrassed. For God's sake, there are people who are dying to get that.
Randy, let me borrow your wallet. I'll be up to 160.
Oh, Jesus. No, I'm not trying to embarrass you, my damn. That's for your age. That's impressive.
Good,
yeah, you look
my
great.
wife doesn't like it, but thank you for saying that.
Of course.
Well, she wants you to put a little heat on?
Yeah, she wants me to bulk up.
Oh, for God's sake. Here's the deal. Kris, this is really cool for us because we're all massive fans. You and the AEW crowd aren't coming to town for a couple weeks. Why are we so lucky that we'd get you to visit us in studio today?
Because I was requested to be here, and I actually love Minneapolis, so I was totally on board with coming here.
Well, we appreciate that.
Do you get to spend some time, or is this a whirlwind trip for you, or do you get to actually hang out for a little bit?
I flew in last night, and I have to go straight to LA for our pay-per-view coming up this Friday.
All right.
So, yes, I have to leave this evening.
From here to LA.
Yeah.
How's the travel going?
So far, pretty smooth, luckily.
Wear you out a little bit?
Yes, I'm very tired, but it's okay. It's worth it. Everything everything that we get to do and all these really cool opportunities, everything is worth it.
Absolutely. By the way, for that show coming up on the 29th at Target Center, there are still tickets available. It says here tickets start at $20 plus fees. This will be AEW's third time in Minneapolis performing at Target Center. Do you have any fond memories at Target? Is it all such a blur that you don't know one arena from the other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know an arena until I'm in the arena. I can't just recognize it by the name. I have to go in there and be like, what did I do in this room? And then I can remember.
Just like a musician.
Yes.
We've all been to shows before where the musician gets the wrong city.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Totally understandable with a musician's lifestyle or the lifestyle of someone like yourself on AEW. Something we were talking about earlier when we discussed your visit, we were all pretty interested in hearing about your what we understand to be your first step into the entertainment business when you were a stunt person.
Yes, a very brief, short-lived, not quite as successful as people think it was, because I didn't have a lot of time to branch out with that career, but I did get to do some pretty cool things with it.
Like what?
I did a prank show for MTV one time.
MTV, did we see it, you think? Was it a popular show?
No.
No.
it had one season, and it was the season finale.
Well, just say it out loud, just in case some of us...
Yeah, I want to look it up, if you don't mind.
Dana over there watches all the worst programming on television. He might...
It was called Ladylike. It was like a female comedian prank show. But, I mean, the thing that I did was pretty cool. We did like a fake speed dating type thing where two of the actresses, where it was a real speed dating scenario, and then two of the actresses like got in a fake fight over one of the real people participating. So I walked over and I was like, "Hey, do you know these people?" And the poor guy was freaking out. He's like, "No, I don't know them." And then they hit me with the table.
Awesome.
You took a table shot.
Oh, man.
It was a fake table.
Well, but still, I mean... That's fun.
And that's when you were like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to go right through this table now.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start putting other people through tables. Never happening to me ever again.
How difficult was it to get started first, as a stunt double, or getting into the stunts first and then getting into wrestling?
So I started my stunt training, I think when I was 18 years old. I found a school back when I was living in New York. I found a school in Brooklyn, and you basically just train for a few weeks to see how much you really like it, where you do unarmed combat, armed combat, and then you do all the crazy things like getting set on fire, getting hit by cars, jumping off of buildings.
What was the scariest of all of those? Because none of them sound like they wouldn't be terrifying.
You experienced
the fire thing, especially.
So you experienced all of those things. You were set on fire, you jumped off a building, you get hit by a damn car.
Yes.
And that was all in 3 weeks?
All those 3 things were in like a matter of days.
Whoa! So it's like a hell week. Like, can you do this?
Yeah. It was fun though. I mean, maybe I'm just a little crazy, but I had a lot of fun doing it. I think the idea of willingly setting yourself on fire is the scariest one.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of protocol that goes into protecting yourself, making sure that you don't actually get hurt with it.
I'd imagine you still feel it though, don't you? Or no?
Not really.
Really?
They cover you in some kind of a...
Yes, there's a lot of protective layers with it. And then if you get scared, you just lay down on a fire blanket, and then they put you out with an extinguisher.
And that's Josh.
A fire blanket sounds so comforting. Yeah.
Josh and I, even without fire, when we get scared, we just lay down.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's the way I do the armadillo. I just kind of cover up.
I just noticed that Kris brought the TBS belt with her. That's gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
That's great. It must be a blast to haul that around wherever you go.
Oh, my back feels great.
I was going to say, it's got to suck going in and out of airports. Are people like always trying... So when you go through the TSA, they got to know it's a belt, so they want to be like...
Well, yeah, she's carrying it over her head. She's probably hauling it over her head, displaying it at all times.
No, I tuck it away in my bag, but it's like 50-50 whether TSA agents actually take it out of the bag and be like, I need to look at this and touch it. And I'm like, all right, that's fine.
We're chatting with Kris Statlander, AEW TBS champion Kris Statlander. So you were telling us about your early days in the stunt world. So then what was the person or what was the catalyst for you getting into wrestling?
So I had met some friends who were local wrestlers, and they were like, "Oh, you trained in stunts, so you could probably be our valet. You'd get it." And then I just valeted my friends for 2 years.
You're a Long Island gal?
Yes.
Can I take a guess as to who one of them was? Was it Joey Janela? Isn't he a Long Island guy?
He is not a Long Island
Oh, my
guy.
bad. Keep going. Sorry. Where the hell's he from?
New Jersey.
Oh, well, I thought that was the same thing. Anyway,
Whoa,
go ahead.
whoa.
Next one.
Oh, no. Interview over.
Wapple, you told me that New Jersey and Long Island was the same thing.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Go ahead. So they said maybe you could be a valet.
Yeah, they said that it's kind of similar training, but no one really knows. It's not the same at all. Stunts are way safer than wrestling, believe it or not. But I valeted my friends for 2 years, and I didn't really watch wrestling ever growing up or really know what it was. So being ringside, that was the only wrestling I ever watched. And just doing that, I was like, I think I could do this. And then I found a school and started training.
That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because a lot of us thought the same thing. we watched and thought. Josh and I actually trained once.
Yeah?
And we weren't very good.
No, and it hurt way more than I had expected.
Way more than.
Yes.
Tell us in your entrance when we see on television on Dynamite or Rampage or Collision, your connection to sign language that you use in your entrance.
Yes. There's really no good reason why I do it. So I just thought it was like a cool thing to incorporate because you don't really see that often.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like a silly little inside joke where when I was on the independent scene, I would hold up like the F and then the U as I was walking to a ring in sign language just for no reason.
I dig that.
Just because I didn't think anybody would know what it was. So it was just my own silly little inside joke. So I was like, I'm going to bring back the sign language, but not do that on television.
Right.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I know that makes an impact. Like my wife is fluent in ASL, and she loved that about you. She thought that was so cool that you do that. And I'm sure you've heard that plenty of times.
It's very original.
Yes, yeah. I've had, I'm not as fluent as people think I am. I'm doing my darndest to get there. But it is very difficult. I don't have a lot of time to study as much as I would like to. But I've definitely had a few people who are hard of hearing or deaf come up to me and start signing, and I'm like, oh, slow down. I'm not ready. And I try really hard to like make sure that I communicate. But they always seem pretty excited that I'm able to at least understand some of the signs that they're doing. Because it's nice to it's another form of communication that people don't think about as important as it actually should be.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, also, my hearing is not great for some reason, so I'm just preparing for the future.
Oh yeah, you'll be ready, I guess. I'll tell you, when I was looking some stuff up about you last night, one of the Google search, when it starts to kind of populate what you might ask, it asks if you're deaf. Have you noticed that? Has anybody told you that?
I see a lot more people asking if I know a deaf person, or if there's someone in my family or my life that is deaf or hard of hearing. But I mean, if you ask some of my friends, they will say that I am.
A lot of what's and huh?
Yes, exactly.
Unbelievable. I mean, you were mentioning, Josh, your wife knows a thing or two about that kind of.
Oh, and she loves that about you. Absolutely loves it.
Tell her I say thank you.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't like talking to her.
Oh, all right. Sign it to her then.
Just the F and the U?
I'm not teaching you that one.
We hear, Kris, that you're a big science nerd.
Yes.
And it kind of played into your character for a while on television.
Yes.
Tell us more about that. You were big into science class as a kid?
Yes, I loved science class. I think the first ever job that I ever wanted as like a child was paleontologist.
Wait a minute. Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you're all freaked out about?
Geology.
Oh, geology. Okay.
Yes.
Long Island, New Jersey, paleontology, geology.
Oh, no.
It's all the same.
No.
Paleontology.
Yes, that's like the study of dinosaurs.
You can tell by looking at me that I don't know what that is. The study of dinosaurs.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You pictured yourself maybe in an Indiana Jones type scene, searching the deserts for.
Absolutely.
Well, we got one on the line. Randy, say hello to Kris Statlander.
Oh.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But that was one of like my first ever jobs that I ever wanted to do. And I would take summer classes for like marine biology. And for like my birthday gifts and Christmas gifts, my parents would get me like little at-home science kits and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It was just, I don't know, I just had a fascination with it, and it's just something that I never really grew out of, I guess. And even my high school, for some reason, we had a planetarium in it, and we would take, as children, we would take field trips to our high school to go sit and look at the planetarium and the stars and stuff like that, which is such a random thing to have in high school.
Yeah, no kidding.
And like I wasn't even in like an upscale school. I don't know why we had that.
Josh's wife's high school had a maternity ward,
It
right?
did, and a smoking lounge. They were in the same room.
What?
Kris Statlander's had a damn planetarium.
No, it really did.
You know what? Nice.
I bet that was convenient for some of us.
Yeah.
Did we all? I mean, I remember, my memory is that in kindergarten we were hammered with information on dinosaurs. And did we all fall in love with that bit for a little while, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely did.
Then once Jurassic Park came out, it was all over.
How many times have you watched Jurassic Park?
I'm not comfortable saying in front of our famous company right now.
So did Luchasaurus then steal a role from you then?
No.
No?
No.
Could you ever see yourself maybe being the dinosaur character because of your...
Probably not. I know
Okay.
some other people that have done that, so I don't want to take that from them.
I understand.
I respect
Absolutely.
them.
Yeah, I mean, science, tough. That's tough stuff.
Yeah.
I was never any good at any of that stuff.
Not easy.
Dinosaurs in kindergarten, yeah, I followed that. Yeah. What about the rest of you? Anyone else big in science when you were in school? Janel Klein, you were a bright kid.
What happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what led to your life where you hang out with us?
Coors Light.
Yeah, right?
You think you make better decisions.
I think Janelle's doing all right. Well, this is pretty exciting. November 29th, Dynamite will be coming to town. And you've got... there's two shows actually that night, right? You go live with Dynamite.
Correct. And then we are taping Rampage right after.
And you'll be involved in the pay-per-view on Friday.
Correct.
What's your setup for Friday?
It's me versus Julia Hart versus the winner of either Sky Blue or Red Velvet, which will be happening tomorrow on Dynamite, actually.
Okay. All right. That sets up for the pay-per-view.
Yes.
Julia Hart, a Minnesota girl.
Mm-hmm. I know. Don't pick favorites. I came here, not her.
That's true. You got out of bed. You flew in for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we know we have to let Kris go shortly, but I have to let Wapple. I have to turn the attention to Wapple because he is the madman of all of us when it comes to television wrestling. You must have a question or two on your mind that you'd like to throw Kris's way. Keep in mind, don't embarrass us. We'd like to have her back at one point or another.
If you could ever have like a dream match of yours, who would it be? Like, who would you want to face? What type of match would it be?
Oh man, that's really. There's so many, like men and women in AEW, especially that I would want to work with.
But now it's like you got Adam Copeland back there, Edge and Christian too. Like, I grew up with those two.
You know what?
And like a Mick Foley. Mick Foley.
I think, I don't know if this is...
Told you he was going to wet himself.
Nick did ask you not to embarrass us.
Just take a friggin' breath over there now.
And I just realized the sweatshirt you're wearing. You got an All Elite Wrestling sweatshirt.
Yeah. He's prepared.
See, I thought about wearing my hat, but I thought you'd look at me and say, dork. You know what I
get
mean?
that all the time.
So the question is a dream match.
Yes. So I think a really cool thing, I don't know if this is ever possible or if it ever will happen, but possibly me and Orange Cassidy versus Adam Copeland and Beth Phoenix.
Oh, wow.
That would be
awesome.
Amazing. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but like we said, it's a dream match.
Can you show her your T-shirt, Wapple?
Really? Do we really have to?
Yeah, I
do
think
this?
we should.
we do.
She brought it up.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
Here
Is
goes.
it me? It's orange. You know what?
It's his first one too.
I know.
His first AEW shirt.
I support it. He's my buddy.
Did you hear that? He has 3 of them.
we will take a picture of Wapple, and you can keep it and hand it to security at Target Center for the 29th. Kris, thank you so much for coming in. It's been a thrill. We are big fans. We're looking forward to the pay-per-view on Friday. We're looking forward to Dynamite in town on the 29th of November. It really has been cool, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Very welcome. Grab that belt. God, we want to see it. There it is. Beautiful TBS belt that Kris has. Let's take some pictures of that before she goes. If anyone's got a cell phone camera, that'd be pretty cool. Kris Statlander, thanks again. Randy Shaver and Janel Klein. How are you both?
Just great.
Good.
It's great to have you.
Janelle, wouldn't you like to be fawned over like that on this show?
Are you kidding
You're
me?
a champion in your career.
Just one time. Wouldn't you love to be just fawned over like that?
You are so jealous,
A girl
Randy.
can dream, Randy.
Where they would just love you and talk to you that way.
Yeah.
We
So
fawn
sweet.
over Janelle all the time.
Oh, right.
We do. Obviously, Randy feels like his treatment isn't what it used to be. We wanted
what
to.
it used to be, it's never been. How about that?
Well, there's been moments.
You know, Randy Shaver, we were going to talk about last night's Monday Night Football game without you, but then we thought we'd save it because we figured you'd have a thing or two to say. Last night's ball game on Monday Night Football was a full-on, four-alarm goat rodeo. I ended up watching a lot of last night's ball game. I didn't think I would. But then I got to look at my homeboy Sean Payton on my television screen, and I was hooked. You know I love that guy.
Sure.
Other than seeing Peyton, something else that drew me into last night's game was the Bills were turning over the football like the game was part of a backyard frat house 2 a.m. keg party.
Decent gain on first down. The ball gets ripped out, and it is an early takeaway by the Denver Broncos. Jaquan McMillian. Allen fastball picked off out of the hands of Gabe Davis and into the arms of Justin Simmons. This one is picked. Another takeaway intercepted by Moreau. Here's a ball on the ground trying to get it to Cook. Broncos say they have it, and they do.
Just to be dicks, Wapple cut up all of Buffalo's turnovers
So Dana can sit
so we
there
can
and-
play for Superfan over there.
That's right. It's very, very appreciated.
Dana and his Buffalo Bills. The Broncos banged a walk-off field goal through the uprights to beat the clown-ass Buffalo Bills last night, 24-22. You know I never talk about the NFL like this anymore, but this game was just hilarious. It really was. It was all so bad, and you guys know me that I love bad football. It was all so bad that it was that good. The Bills made Russ Wilson look relevant again.
They certainly did.
And
that's a scary proposition. That's a scary proposition for the Vikings because now Denver is sitting there at 4-5 with the Vikings coming to town on Sunday night, thinking
They
they've
got some
a chance-
confidence.
They got a chance to get back to 500. Back to Buffalo, though. You know, I'm not going to say that they're out of this thing. They're sitting at 5-5 right now, but they've got a lot of things to figure out. I don't know why he is playing as bad as he is right now, Josh Allen, but he made some pretty bad mistakes last night in that game. And Buffalo's they're in danger not just to win the East, they're in danger of not making the playoffs at all.
Well, they look like a bunch of morons out there last time. I mean, even on the final game-winning field goal, the Broncos missed the field goal. If you miss, originally it looked like all the hard work the Broncos had put in, all the charity they took from Josh Allen, it looked like it was going to be wasted. They missed the game-winning field goal, but stupid Buffalo had too many players on the field.
Amazing.
41-yard try for the win. Lutz, he missed it, but a flag is down.
12 men on defense, 5-yard penalty.
Wow.
Still fourth down.
And this will move the ball inside the 20, and it becomes a 36-yard game-winning field goal attempt by Will Lutz. Good snap, good hold, kick, perfect. And the Broncos have come to Buffalo, and they're going to leave with a win, 24-22.
That's a riot.
That's amazing.
12 men on the field. They're going to kick it again? Son of a bitch. That's funny. And you're right. Okay, so now the Vikings' next opponent is that same Denver Broncos club. Here's hot and spicy, crunchy, nutty, tasty, chewy Jesus texting the pro. When are you folks going to get over this? Here's what he texted. Sean Payton is a festering boil on the ass of society. Why can't you folks get over it? He did what a lot of coaches did before him. And, of course, this is always a reference to that title game with the Saints and the Vikings. And they went after Brett Favre. They tried to hurt him intentionally. Yeah. You know how many head coaches all-time great head coaches said that directly to their teams before big ball games. Go out there and maul, mangle, hurt that quarterback so we can win. But the Sean Payton thing, it became a big story, and now he's just the most evil coach of all time. Every coach said that. I bet you Don Shula, Tom Landry, Mike Ditka, name a great NFL coach. I bet before a game they walked up to their defense and they said, I want that quarterback friggin' dead. But no one can let it go around here.
Well, I think it's because they put a bounty on it.
It doesn't. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a little bit different when you're paying guys a little money to do that.
Hey, it got him to the Super Bowl, didn't it?
Well, it did, but I'm just saying.
I'll say it again. If he would have been the coach for the Vikings, he'd have a statue out front of the new Metrodome right now for that.
I don't think so.
Yes, he would. Fine. I was reading an article yesterday, and even if you don't follow the NFL casually, even if you only follow the NFL casually like I do, you probably knew this before this article was written, but with the Vikings' soft-ass schedule here for the next few games, they very likely could find themselves on an 8-game win streak by the time they play Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which is what, week 13, 14, 15, something like that.
Very much so.
Denver, sure, they look like they could cause a problem or two.
Yeah, Denver's starting to figure a few things out.
But then after that, they play who? The Bears, the Raiders. The Lions are a game and a half up in the division, but, of course they could F it all up. But
don't they play the Lions 2 of the last 3 games of the year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Christmas Eve and January 7th.
That's crazy.
There's the opportunity.
Week 16 and 18.
There's the opportunity.
That's crazy. So that'll be a crazy finish.
I was laughing my balls off yesterday. I didn't get this text until we were off the air, but yesterday we were discussing Josh Dobbs and his couple of cute nicknames that fans have come up with. One being the Pastronaut. One being, did we talk about this one yesterday? The Rad Scientist.
Yeah.
No.
Did that one come up?
Well, people text. Maybe we didn't talk about it on air, but people were texting that yesterday.
A listener texted me after the show was over and dumped a Josh Dobbs nickname on me that cracked me up. This listener says, sure, Pastronaut and Rad Scientist are cute. But this listener says, I just call him False Hope.
That's a longtime Vikings fan.
Oh, my gosh. That's a person that's been through the Vikings mill.
I even noticed NFL on their Twitter account, they put Josh Dobbs as their cover photo now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean? NFL what?
The NFL Twitter account, they have Josh Dobbs as their cover photo.
Oh, okay. This is bad news about this linebacker for the Vikings that goes by the name of Jordan Hicks. He had something going on with one of his shins in the game Sunday against New Orleans.
Right.
Ended up going to the hospital after the game. Terrible swelling in his leg. It sounds pretty serious. He's doing all right, but it looks like he won't play Sunday night.
Right.
Some kind of brutal swelling.
On his shin.
On his shin?
Yeah. And they had to surgically, I think, remove it or something.
Remove his shin?
Not the shin.
He's not going to be any good at football.
The growth that's on his shin.
Anyone here ever kicked a trailer hitch on the way by?
Gosh, yes.
That'll straighten you out.
Yeah.
So now with this Hicks guy possibly going to miss some time, the Vikings reportedly plan on bringing back a familiar face. That friggin' stalker Adam Schefter of ESPN reports that the Vikings plan to sign Anthony Barr as a free agent.
Oh.
Yeah.
Played here for 7-8 years. He did fairly well. I don't know if he can still play, but he did become one of my all-time favorite Vikings when he dumped Karen on his head there a few years ago at the new Metrodome. Barr played for the Cowboys last season. Apparently they weren't thrilled with him, so there he sits. And they're going to sign him up.
Okay.
You excited about that?
I mean, it's a body at this point. They've got so many injuries right now. To have somebody that's been in their system, that kind of knows what they do, I think is a plus. But yeah, they're so banged up right now that, and every team can say that, I'm sure, at this point in the season, that they've got X amount of injuries and that kind of thing. So
I hear you.
What the Vikings are going through is what everybody else is going through too. So.
Someone's telling me here what Jordan Hicks had going on with his shin. There's only 20,000 cases per year of what he was dealing with. Sounds really, really painful.
It does.
God, I know I told you this story before, but that was something to see when Barr, I already forgot his first name. Randolfo Barr? What? Anthony Barr, when he picked up Karen at the new Metrodome over there and dumped him on his noggin, and Karen was out for the rest of the year. I was at the game, and of course, it's half Vikings people and half Packer folks. And, you know, I'd be lying if I didn't say that play thrilled me to no end. But the funniest thing about that situation was some young, 22, 23-year-old Vikings fan is walking down. I was right on the aisle. He wasn't in his seat to see that play, but obviously he was up in the concourse getting a beer. This kid had a lot of beer. He missed it, but he knew what had happened. He's coming down the aisle, and he's tapping every Packer fan on the shoulder going, hey, I was getting a beer. Did I miss something? What did I miss? And then, of course, the Packer fan would give him this terrible look, and he'd say, what? Is it good, bad? What happened? What did I miss? And he'd move on to the next Packer fan. Hey, excuse me, did something big happen? I heard a roar when I was getting a beer, and I don't know. What? What's with the face? Did something happen? God, that was good. NFL dorks are tearing at their zippers, Randy. HBO cut loose a trailer for the Hard Knocks in-season show with the Miami Dolphin club as their featured team. Are you psyched?
Not really, no.
Most points, most yards, most touchdowns.
When's the last time we had something this fun to watch?
I told y'all I was going to put on the show for y'all today.
Nothing's easy in this league, though.
There's a lot on the line here. All we did was give us another reason to be confident because of that adversity that we battled through.
Well, see, I thought you loved this program.
It's okay.
Oh.
I guess I enjoy the preseason more than I do the in-season, so I guess I'm not really
Is anybody psyched?
excited about it.
I'll watch it, but it hasn't been as good lately.
All right.
That coach is fun, though.
Yeah, he's very funny.
He seems like he's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm with Randy. I like the preseason stuff because then you kind of get behind a person that's not on the team who could possibly make the team.
The stories are, I think, are a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Fair enough. Personally, never saw it. I'll take your word for it. Am I to assume that we're all rooting for former NFL ball player Shannon Sharpe and adult film star Miss Nasty B? Are we all rooting for them to get together and fall in love?
I hope so. That's the storyline in the NFL I want to hear more about.
Yeah, I'd watch that Hard Knocks.
I bet there'd be some hard knocks.
Yeah, there'd be some hard knocks, all right.
I was just saying yesterday, suddenly, it's just day after day, we get something from Chad Johnson, and maybe every 3-4 days we get something from Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe went ahead and said he wants to be with porn star Miss Nasty B.
I'm looking for a center. Send me Miss Nasty B. What her name was? Oh, what did you say? I would need an umbrella.
Miss Nasty B.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I don't want nobody walking in the straight and narrow.
No,
nah. I want a center. That's what I'm looking for.
Think about you on that private jet with Yvonne, and y'all going over the word, going on to your next destination. Y'all having prayer and Bible study together. You need a woman like that in your life.
Give me Miss Nasty B. I have the Bible right there by my bed. Lord, forgive me for what I'm about to do.
See, Chad Johnson was trying to send him in a different direction. Chad Johnson was trying to hook him up with. Is anyone familiar with this person? Chad is friends with an actress named Yvonne Orji.
Yeah, or J.I.
Interesting that's her last name, because Chad says she's a 39-year-old virgin and a devout Christian. So he's trying to tell Shannon Sharpe you should date Yvonne Orji. But Sharpe said no, he's more interested in a sinner like this porn actress, Miss Nasty B. Promised to have a Bible right next to his bed. He'd ask the Lord forgiveness for what he's about to do.
He knows what he wants.
And I think I saw a video last night, Josh, where Miss Nasty B herself was watching this podcast or whatever it was. She was watching it. Apparently, she did not know what the subject matter was. And then when Shannon Sharp started to say he wanted to throw her into the tall grass, she looked quite excited about that.
Oh, she was interested.
Yeah. Not familiar with Miss Nasty B. Janelle, Randy, what am I missing?
No idea.
Ashley, you seem to know all these.
I don't know who that is. No.
She doesn't know
Never
Miss
heard
Nasty.
of her.
She's very flexible.
Oh.
She's very flexible.
So what else can you tell us about her, Waffle?
That's really her coup de grace, I would say.
Yeah. Limber indeed.
One of the most...
You're sick.
Hey, show research.
Yeah, there's some flexible ones out there. That's for sure. I mean, you got to be flexible in the bang bus. You know what I mean? Not a lot of room in there.
Tight spaces.
The bang bus,
so to speak.
When my dad retired from truck driving, he considered taking another job, maybe on the side. I said, well, drive the bang bus. He didn't want to drive the bang bus.
Is the bang bus like a short bus, or is it a full-size bus?
It's a van.
It's a van.
It's a van.
Oh, it's a van?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah. I told my dad, you want to keep driving, drive the bang bus.
Speaking of things that have seen some stuff, my goodness, that van has seen some things.
Oh, yeah, I bet Paradise Car Wash doesn't like seeing that thing come through.
Oh, my God.
They're calling guys who got the day off, to come in.
All right, we need everybody. Bring the parrot back, too. We need the parrot.
Yeah. Did you know that, Josh, you know this story. Along the way, when my dad was driving truck, he was offered the job to drive Skid Row's tour bus and turned it down?
Yeah, that's awesome. What a cool story.
Yeah. He said, I couldn't handle those morons. No way.
Oh, I bet that would get annoying after
the Skid Row tour bus. One of the most bizarre stories of the college football season so far, Randy Shaver and Jupiter Jane. I didn't bother covering this because I don't care, but it does have a cool twist here, an interesting twist. Do you guys remember we were all supposed to care so much about Deion Sanders' Colorado college football team, right? They were all over the place for a couple of weeks, and then it became reality that they're not that great of a football team. But anyway, the story about where they went to Los Angeles to play UCLA, they're playing at the Rose Bowl, and someone broke into their locker room and stole all of their diamond and gold chains and cash and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. And I ignored this story because I got burned out quickly on Deion Sanders, but like I said, there's something interesting in here. The local police have some suspects. The suspects reportedly are high school football players from L.A. who were at the game.
Were they being recruited?
As part of an official recruiting thingy thing. What do you call that? An official visit with UCLA.
Wow.
With UCLA or with Colorado?
With UCLA.
Okay.
They were invited to the game by UCLA because they're top-notch local football players.
How did they get into the Colorado locker?
No one knows.
Acting like you know there, I guess. You're supposed to be there.
Pardon me?
Acting like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah. Well,
Seems like you can get it.
That can work for people, sure. They were on an official visit with UCLA. They're top-notch football players from the L.A. area. Their names are being withheld because they're juveniles. But that's how you get signed to play college football right there. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
You get
the takeaways.
That's how you get your foot in the door.
That's how you get your foot in the door. You steal thousands of dollars worth of items from a locker.
Did they ever recover all of that?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics behind it, but it sounds like most or all of what was stolen was recovered and returned to the Colorado football player.
Okay. Well, that's not a good way to start your college career.
I mean, we all know, right, Randy Shaver, these kids will get another chance to play college football if they're that good. We all know that.
Sure.
But do you guys know anybody, specifically athletically, who kind of had it in the palm of their hand and then blew it?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Oh. Many.
What happened?
DWI.
Yeah, I would say drinking, drugs.
Yeah.
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 I mean, sometimes an injury, but mostly an injury because of drinking or drugs.
You know these people personally?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Fun
Janelle.
times in Faribault.
Right?
No
kidding.
Gosh.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we all have a story or two. The one that stands out to me the most is a friend of mine's cousin, I believe, is how it plays out. Well, I mean, I guess you could link this to drinking loosely, but top-notch D1 college hockey player having a keg party, and what do the boys decide they want to do to entertain themselves on this particular night? They're going to put a crash helmet on, like the Malachi brothers from the old Happy Days show. They're going to put a crash helmet on and drive their heads through walls.
Oh, boy.
And dude found a stud, broke his neck.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Why in the world? God.
What happened?
He couldn't play hockey
Like
anymore.
paralysis or what?
That I don't remember, but it was enough to where he couldn't.
Oh, my God.
Couldn't quite cut it the way. And he was just getting started out with a D1 club.
Try explaining that to mom and dad.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And then, you know, speaking of the drinking and the drugs and whatnot, I still get aggravated by this story. A buddy of mine was terrific athlete, D1 athlete, but he gets a minor consumption in high school, and all of the D1 schools turn their back on him. What kind of garbage is that?
Yeah, really.
That's surprising.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
Well, but this was, 33, 4 years ago, Randy, but still, I just thought, what?
But still.
But even I had friends in high school that got kicked off of teams, very good players, because of underage drinking tickets.
Right.
Well, maybe in high school, but to lose recruiting opportunities.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I don't know if I missed this somehow, and there was some, nationwide movement, to really crack down on underage drinking. I don't remember. I'm just saying, come on.
But there's no aggravating circumstances like he crashed his car?
No.
Nothing.
No, just got caught drinking beer as a
Just a minor.
17-year-old kid. Oh, well, you're not good enough to play on with our club anymore. What the hell's the matter with you? Go look at your current roster, see what they're doing on the weekends, for Christ's sake.
Right.
It's so dumb. All right, what else is going on? Wolves are going to try and beat those
I think
bastards.
they play them again, right? Golden State again tonight.
They got another crack at these smarmy pricks tonight.
Is this one of those tournament games?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's right, Randy.
All right.
The mid-season tournament tonight counts for those standings.
And they're
Wolves,
1-0 so far.
They are. Wolves Warriors, 9 o'clock tonight on what they call here Bally Sports North Plus.
We'll see how they respond after having a day off in San Francisco.
But could that be trouble or something?
Well, I'm just saying, you're in a city. Normally, you're flying from one place to the next, so you don't really have a lot of time to relax. And so we'll see how they respond tonight.
One of my old buddies lives in San Francisco, and by God, he says it just smooth up sucks.
Yeah.
He hates it there.
Why?
Dirty and expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard it's just outrageous to live there as far as
He
expensive.
says it's just garbage, just a big pile of garbage on a series of hills, is what he says. He's lived there for many years. He can't seem to get his way out of there. I'm sure there's some nice parts. I'm just telling you. This friend of mine says, don't ever come here. And if you do, he says he'll kick your ass. 9 o'clock tonight. We'll see what they can do against the Warriors. I don't think much of this Chris Paul thing. It's become a story suddenly. I did receive some texts yesterday from listeners saying Chris Paul was trying to take Mike Conley's knees out. He was trying to hurt him.
I don't think Chris Paul's that kind of player.
What Chris Paul was trying to do was what Chris Paul constantly does in any situation on the basketball court. He's trying to get a foul. And yeah, he dove into Mike Conley's legs, but he didn't do it to hurt Mike Conley, in my opinion. He did it to get a foul, and it worked. It worked. If you don't know what we're talking about, a couple nights ago, there was a loose ball.
Right.
Chris Paul and Mike Conley are going for the basketball. Paul gets his hands on the ball first. He has possession of the ball, and he threw himself into Mike Conley. It was all 100% to get a foul call. That's what Chris Paul has been doing his entire career. I don't think he meant to intentionally hurt Mike Conley. So, just in case anyone was dialed into that hubbub, I've seen the story go around and round.
If you want to see it, it's on 93x.com.
Copy that. And I'll be damned. The Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards is the Western Conference Player of the Week because of how much
he should be.
ass he whooped in last week's ball game.
Yeah. I think it'll be the first of many, the way he's playing right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. First time he's won the award. Jesus, last week he averaged 31.3 points a game.
Isn't it so much fun just to watch this guy and know that he's, 22 years old or whatever he is, and the opportunity that this club might have to continue to build players around him. And he's such a stud, but he's also a very much a team player.
Absolutely.
A generous player who will give up shots or will pass the ball. I just think Wolves fans should be really excited for what the future holds.
Oh, how could you not be?
It's like watching KG early in KG when KG's emergence was starting to happen.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know what was fun about Anthony Edwards on Sunday night against the Warriors is the way he was popping off at that prick Draymond Green. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. He had a layup late in the game, and Green was nearby, and A1 from day one was just running his yap at Draymond Green. That's beautiful. Where were you on that one, bitch? I think is sort of what came out of his mouth. That was the rough idea of what was coming out. I love that. Don't be intimidated by these jackasses like Draymond Green. Went right after the guy. So there you go. Wildly overrated Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers was the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Boy, Randy can't stop swinging from his jock. I'll tell you that right now.
He's a great player when he's healthy.
There you go. All right, Randy. Nice work. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for the this and the that.
You know what? It was a pleasure.
It always is a pleasure.
The interview was good. She was very good.
Yeah, she's like
awesome.
that?
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
Kris
she was
Statlander.
very entertaining and very thoughtful answers. I thought she was really good.
And she's got an interesting story for sure.
She does. She's great. We thank Kris Statlander for her time.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Did you know that Standard Heating has over 700 years of combined experience in the heating business? Now that's a lot of brain power. Hi, Corey here. As the call center manager at Standard, I'm proud to be able to work for a company that provides top solutions and experiences for our customers. Ashley, tell us more.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.
Half redneck, half posh. 100% fun. Trey Crowder and Corey Ryan Forrester try and learn fancy culture in putting on airs.
The host of the Medium Popcorn Podcast, Brandon Collins and Justin Brown.
Okay, so Paddington 2 had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for years.
You guys ruined that?
Justin came in and took it down 2 points because of his rating. That's the time we started getting death threats.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. People worship that movie.
Putting on airs. The podcast is on YouTube and wherever you listen.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yes. By God, yes, we have returned. And welcome back to the Programski. It's 8:30 here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. We've got new AEW TBS champion Janel Klein here in studio.
Congratulations.
That was a big win.
Thank you.
What a success.
We've got Janel Klein held captive for a little while longer. Thanks for your company, Janel.
I love being here. Thank you.
Who of all of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, who here came from the strictest household? Was that Josh?
Well, I can say mine was very strict. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but
no, not at all.
In past in past conversations about coming up, yeah, Josh has told quite a few different angles on how strict his folks were. Can anyone also say that they came from a strict household?
No, I think my parents tried, but it just didn't work.
They put in an effort, huh?
Yeah, they definitely tried to be more strict, but I was good at hiding things,
Waffle,
I suppose.
You want to say you might have finished in second place as far as strict upbringings?
Yeah, Josh's family's definitely first, but I would say I'm close second. I mean, Catholic family, we went to church every Sunday, that type of stuff. But
Could you miss it? Like we couldn't miss it. And supper was up 6 o'clock. You had to be there no matter what.
See, we had to be there for dinner. What age? Probably when I was like 10. I could start skipping church, but I mean, I still had to go through what was it?
Confirmation
and all that stuff.
But overall, your folks...
Then rehab. You had to go through rehab.
Have to do that too?
Your folks kept a pretty tight watch over your Muppet behind.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
What about, did you guys all have curfews that were very strict?
No.
I did, and nothing makes you feel cooler than when it's an hour or an hour and a half earlier than all of your friends.
Who had the least strict upbringing?
Well, I'd say probably Nick.
Definitely Nick.
Nick?
He basically lived in a trap house for a couple of years.
What is a trap house? What does that mean?
It's
is
like
that
Kind of like anything goes.
Well, yeah.
Doors always open. Beer parties, drinking, drugs, that kind of thing.
Then you're right. Yes, it was a. I've never heard that term before.
Did you guys watch Family Guy on Sunday?
I did, yes.
No.
Stewie finds a mini fridge right on the sidewalk somebody's getting rid of, and his life changes afterwards.
His whole personality.
Like a trap house. He's living basically in a dorm at that point. Big parties, all this kind of stuff from having this mini fridge.
I'd like to see that.
That's a good one.
Your description reminds me of that episode.
So I was the only guy that didn't know what it meant to be living in a trap house.
I'd never heard that term either.
I'm not surprised by that. No, you're right. I mean, we were buck wild. Janelle, Ashley, Dana, you guys all didn't have a hell of a lot of strict things going on the way the conversation was going.
Would they let you guys watch? Like I've said this before, my parents were very restrictive on what we could watch and how much TV we could watch. Like I couldn't watch the A-Team. I'd have to go across the street to my neighbor Brad's. I'd have to go over there and watch that kind of stuff. Because it was too violent for my parents. And again, I don't think anyone was ever actually hit by a bullet on that show.
No, right.
Never. But it was way too violent.
The first time you told me that your folks wouldn't let you watch the A-Team, I laughed my balls off. Because it was a cartoon. It was a kid's show, for Pete's sake. Okay, Ashley, Janelle, Dana, the ones along with me who say they came from a much more loose environment coming up. Was there, despite that loose environment, was there a rule or two?
Oh, yeah.
That you remember. Okay, what were some of the rules?
Door has to stay open if a boy is over.
Okay.
That was a big one.
All right, that's exactly where we're going for.
Okay.
A door in your bedroom had to stay open if there was a boy or three over.
Yep.
Janelle?
I mean, the normal ones, they didn't let me run wild, but I had a curfew.
Okay.
It's just that it was a very generous curfew.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
mine was midnight, and
midnight?
Yeah.
Dude,
what? And my parents were asleep, so they wouldn't really never know what time I actually did get home.
Oh my gosh, my friends had that kind of setup. Both of them did. Their parents would always be sleeping when they got home, and they were supposed to crack open the door and say "Hey, I'm home." And that was it. I can't imagine doing that. My mom was sitting there waiting for me, waiting to smell my breath or see if I was high.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So then it wasn't as wide open as maybe you were leading us to believe. My folks did not know or care where we were ever. It was the greatest thing in the world, but also I probably could have used some structure there. Wapple and Josh were reeling at the thought of a midnight curfew. So what time did you guys have to be home?
What was your curfew?
9:30, 10?
What? In high school?
9. Yeah.
No
In
way.
high school?
Yes.
That's
The sun is still out.
Yeah.
Once I got my license, it was a little more lenient. But
Well, 10?
Yeah, I couldn't be home, after midnight. For
Wow.
sure that.
Josh,
as a senior, a junior.
8:30 or 9 in high school?
You couldn't even go to a football game or something.
That's friggin' abuse is what that
Fridays
is.
and Saturdays it was 10.
Oh.
Right.
But still.
I don't even think I
on a
had
Friday
a
or
curfew.
Saturday?
My parents, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and they'd be like, "All right, well, what time do you think you're going to be home?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, probably by 11:30. Okay, sounds good.
By the way, I should mention that curfew was in the summer. On a school night, it was 6 o'clock. You're home for supper, and that's it.
Oh my God.
Terrible.
It's
amazing that I turned out so cool. You know what I'm saying?
It really is. It's a miracle.
Kind of a bad boy.
In all the years we've worked together, I don't think we've ever heard that before. 10 o'clock and you're in high school?
On a
That's
Friday and
freaking
Saturday.
terrible. Okay.
Trust me, I know. I'm so embarrassed.
What the hell were they so afraid of? You're a good kid. You were always a good kid. If you were a derelict, that would be different.
I don't know. But so that's, I would drive all the time with my friends so I could drop them off, right? Otherwise, because otherwise I would say, hey, can we leave this really fun event so I can get home by 8:30 or 9?
Unbelievable. Here's another listener, Liquid Steel Jesus, 9 p.m. His curfew was 9 p.m. Every minute you're late, you got grounded for a day.
Oh.
And he had that curfew until he was 18 years old. What in the living hell have some of you gone through? Here's the deal.
Mine was after high school. They were more lenient when I graduated. So I was still 18 and I had a curfew like that. But once I graduated high school, it's better. I'll tell you, we've gotten less strict. We tried to be really good parents with our older two kids, and at this point, we are awful. Well, my wife's much better than I am. But I mean, like, the other ones, we'd make sure they ate their vegetables, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if my son even knows what a vegetable is. He's seen it on TV. They're usually singing and dancing on a television show.
As shocking as it is to hear Josh's story of a 10 p.m., 9:30, whatever p.m. curfew as a stinking high school kid, as shocking as that is, curfews, standard stuff in most families. Most families have a curfew for the young people. You got to be home at a certain... Weird house rules is a topic that hopped up on that godforsaken social media. Weird house rules. And maybe some of us have some stories to tell about our friends' families that had weird house rules. I can think of one that pissed me off. It's not weird. It maybe is weird how adamant they were about this rule, and I'll get to that later. So be thinking about that. Maybe you had a friend whose family had some weird house rules. I'm going to fire some of these at me, or at you, is how it works. And feel free to chime in whenever you like, of course. Weird house rules. If we slammed the door as kids, this sounds more like a joke. But if we slammed doors as kids, our dad would make us kiss the door to make it feel better.
That's odd.
That is weird.
When I was a kid, my friend's dad made his kids line up on the couch and just sit there silently while he watched TV and drank beer. If you were visiting, you had to do it too. Silently sit on the couch while he watched TV and drank beer. This individual says, when my mom heard about it, I wasn't allowed to go over there when he was home. My mom knew an abusive weirdo's behavior when she saw it. That is very strange.
Yep, absolutely.
Everyone has to sit and be quiet? Just sit there with them? That's odd.
Creep.
Another weird house rule. I cannot sit on the couch at my dad's house if his wife is home because she will feel invaded.
Oh, my God.
Woo-wee.
Yowzers.
She has to have the whole couch to herself. So I get to sit on a chair from a dining room table.
She has to have the couch to herself.
Dude.
Oh, no, lady.
My friend's mom wouldn't let anyone put any trash in the bathroom trash can. There was a trash can there, but it was just for show.
Dude, you know what? There is sometimes, and I feel so irrational when I think it, but I look at the bathroom trash can and I'm like, why is there so much straw? Because it's a trash can. But it pisses me off.
Yeah, you want to keep that neat.
Yeah, because then you have to dump it out downstairs.
Any trash that was generated in the bathroom, well, this part makes it even more strange. So you couldn't put any bathroom-generated trash in the bathroom trash can. Any bathroom-generated trash had to go down the toilet.
Oh, that is odd.
That's not good.
I bet your plumber hates your guts.
Yep.
I would imagine that would cause some problems. Now, this isn't so much a rule as it is a strange setup. But, man, I bet you, I mean, I know one of my tight buddies growing up, his family had this set up in their living room. I thought it was odd the first time I saw it, but I got used to it. Maybe you've seen this too. In the living room, there were no couches or chairs. There were just recliners lined up.
That's fun.
That sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's like stadium seating.
Yeah, it seems like a movie
That
theater.
sounds awesome.
Did you guys ever see that growing up?
No.
In 1984, that took me by surprise. I walked in and said, every swinging D in this place gets a recliner?
I remember
There's
the first time I saw a recliner in somebody's house, and I assumed they were millionaires. Have something that fancy.
All right. As we're going through weird house rules, anyone have anything come to mind yet?
I had a buddy whose dad would lock up the Nintendo 64 controllers.
He didn't want the kids playing video games when he wasn't supervising?
You had to have permission, and only during special occasions were you allowed to get the N64 controllers unlocked out of this like safe type thing they had.
He didn't want his son and his buddies becoming dopey video game junkies.
Yeah, we were over there. I'm like, well, let's play 64. And he goes, no, we can't. I'm like, what do you mean we can't? It's right there. He goes, yeah, I know. My dad locks the controllers up.
That's so weird.
Can we at least just turn it on and watch it?
He must have been one of those video games rot the brain and turn you into a...
Mm-hmm.
My parents...
Or was he worried you'd ruin it?
Oh, yeah, maybe he didn't want us gunking up his controllers with our dirty child hands.
This one really doesn't make sense because I'm such a big fan, but my parents never let me watch wrestling when I grew up.
Too violent?
No,
too much ass?
I think too much ass. It was in that era of the Attitude Era.
Sure.
Panties matches.
Divas and whatnot.
My mom would always walk down whenever there was a bra and panties match. It was never failed.
Well, maybe it was her favorite.
I had to turn the TV on the lowest volume, and then when I heard someone come downstairs, I would quickly switch it.
Yeah, you'd have that flip back channel set to like Nickelodeon or something like that.
Yeah, until your parents get smart enough and they hit the previous channel button, and you're like, oh gosh.
What the hell was Dad watching, Mom?
That must have tortured you. Then you go to school, junior high, whatever, the next day, and everyone's talking about, oh my God, did you see Tori Wilson took her bra off and hit Trish Stratus over? Then Vince McMahon came in a pair of bikini briefs.
Yeah, and the only thing I could do was play with my wrestling figures. And
that's not the only thing you were playing with.
No kidding. 5'3" Double D Sheeza said her weird house rule was every night during the week after school, they had to read an article in the newspaper and then write a report on what they read.
Oh, God. I would so quickly light a room on fire if I would have grown up in that house. I got to write a report at the end of the week for you. I do enough of that at school. I'm lighting a rec room on fire if I grew up in that house.
Yeah, luckily my parents never gave us homework. That would suck.
One more before we go to break. No talking during dinner.
Oh, what?
That was a weird house rule according to this report. No talking during dinner. Okay. And it wasn't just... Pardon me?
Awkward.
It wasn't just, a move made out of let's be polite, let's be proper at dinner. There's a level of madness here. There was no talking during dinner because their elderly grandmother believed that a mischievous spirit living in the dining room would learn secrets and cause chaos in the house.
That's awesome.
That's something.
Yeah.
KARE 11's Janel Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
We're talking weird house rules here with Janel Klein, who grew up in a blondes-only household. That was a rule. Blondes only. We're talking weird house rules with Jungle Jane. Rules some of us endured as kids. Not the standard, curfew, no fighting with your sister, finish your vegetables type of house rules. Weird ones. Like Lillian cannot use the phone. I don't care if the house is burning down. Every time I quote that, the room gets quieter and quieter.
Eddie Murphy Raw. Love it.
I don't care if the house is burning down. Weird house rules. Most folks who contributed to this article are talking about when they stopped by a friend's house or there were these certain rules and they couldn't. We left off with a no talking during dinner rule. That was kind of weird. But how about this one? If you need to pass gas, you have to go outside and all the way to the mailbox.
Can just go let one in the bathroom?
Or postal worker.
No.
Why is everybody farting on me?
You got to walk outside and all the way to the mailbox, and then you can break your little wind, and then you can come back into our sterilized home, apparently.
That's such a far
You've had no
walk.
farting rules.
Yes, I have.
Maybe not that extreme.
I have made certain no farting rules in my personal and professional life.
Did you know he sent a coworker home for farting in studio, violating that rule?
Oh,
Yeah.
who
yeah.
was it?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it was. It could be any of you. You don't come into my studio and fart. And I made that rule very clear, did I not, Josh, from day one?
You did.
And then they broke the rule. And what happened? I enforced it. And I said, you are gone from here. You must leave. And they cried, and they did. How about this weird house rule? Guests eat last.
Wow. Usually guests are treated like kings.
I mean, some people are so effing weird.
They
would make guests sit and watch the family eat before they could even be served.
What in the world?
What kind of wacky power move is that?
Yeah, that's odd.
No tampons allowed.
What?
In a household.
Because of the plumbing, I'm guessing.
Well, you're supposed to flush them, that's for sure.
Well, I don't know the reason behind it.
You bring them out to the mailbox.
Maybe it was a fear of, some kind of weird fear of sexual activity, sexual coming of age, like really strict religious. I'm just stabbing.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm just taking a stab here. I have no idea.
It's a good guess.
I was at a friend's house. A young lady says, I was at a friend's house. I put my used tampon wrapped in a small plastic bag in their trash. Their dad picked it out of the trash and yelled at me for using tampons.
That would be so scary.
That is scary.
He was holding it in his hand. So your guess is as good as mine. What the living hell is going on deep down inside with that mindset?
This text says they had a fairly strict house. They couldn't say butt or poop. They had to say behunkus and doo-doo.
Behunkus.
Yeah, my folks were pretty strict on language, too. Although my dad would cuss like, you'd never hear. He swore all the time.
I mean, I understand you don't want your kids running around dumping F-bombs on each other like it's a VFW, but for God's sake, you're afraid of the words butt and poop?
I remember in school getting in trouble. Or no, I'm sorry, it was at a friend's house. I said crap, and my friend's mom was not happy about that. I didn't know it was a bad word.
Yeah.
It's like you grew up in the 1600s or something.
I know.
One kid in my neighborhood once called me a booger bone butt. I remember that to this day. It was such an odd combination. He called me a booger bone butt.
That's a kid thing for sure.
And
Yep.
I was so thrown by that. Okay, what else do we have here? No radio waves after dark. After sunset, Wi-Fi was shut down, phones were powered off, even the microwave was a no-no. They believe that radio waves interfered with your dreams.
Okie
Crazy people, man, crazy people.
Welding Jesus had a weird rule at his house. If his dad didn't approve of his handwriting on assignments or homework, he'd make him rewrite it until his penmanship was acceptable.
Oh, my gosh.
My gosh.
Boy, did we have it easy.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, some of us. Josh over there was
My parents didn't make me do that.
fully pubed teenager that had to be home at 8 o'clock at night. Now, okay, dinner time rules. In this particular contribution to the topic of weird house rules, you couldn't ask for or get a drink halfway through a meal. You either had to ask for or get one before you were served or wait until you were done.
What if you run out?
I don't know what happens here,
You're
Ashley.
just
I don't
gonna
know
sit
the
there
problem.
Parched?
They had a room. Oh, this is terrible. My friends' folks had a room in their basement that they let the dog poop in if they didn't feel like taking him outside.
I know a person that does
Yeah,
that.
I know a person like that too.
It is so gross.
No.
Yup.
No.
Yep.
They let the dog poop in the house in a specific room?
Yep.
Both of you, Josh and Ashley?
Yes.
It's the
For that very
basement,
same
so-
reason?
It's
Yeah.
in a basement. Yep.
Because of the winter, mostly, yeah.
Here's a household where you weren't allowed to pee directly into the toilet water. You had to aim for the...
Was there...
Yeah,
how
yeah.
was that rule established?
Well, you'd
There
hear
was-
it if you're a boy, I guess.
They had one of those bathroom attendants, like
Yeah,
like at the
yeah.
fancy restaurant.
How do you make sure that keeps happening? You
Well,
got,
they
like, a
can hear
framed
the pee
picture
hitting the
of-
water, and then they run in and say, "Get that gear away from that water."
Stop it.
You weren't allowed to pee directly into the toilet water. You had to aim for the inside edge of the bowl. They didn't want to hear. I'm pretty confident in guessing that they found the sound of urine meeting water to be offensive.
I would think 100% that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Selling homes lightning fast, Jesus said the garage fridge had a sign on it saying all beer and pop is counted. When Dad realized he couldn't keep count, he put a padlock on it, locking it up.
Yeah, a few more takes here from our listening audience who have seen some things. They've experienced some things. But it doesn't matter what we talk about. Our listening audience is so interesting. They have had many great experiences. Here's a listener whose great-grandmother had the plastic on the couch. No one was allowed to sit on it. All right.
Oh, yeah, we had that.
I couldn't imagine that. That must have been so awful.
My grandma had whole rooms we weren't even allowed in.
Old people are so strange.
It's not even comfy.
In this same family where Grandma had the plastic on the couch and no one was allowed to sit on it, there was a great-grandfather grandfather character who would stab you with his fork if you put your elbows on his dinner table. He'd give you a little stabby stab. Elbows on the dinner table. I remember that being a thing in other households.
Right, same here.
That was never a thing in mine.
My family, we were like animals. You could lie down on the dinner table and no one would. Wow, here's a listener who says his dad brought the military home with him. Every morning before school, his dad would see if a quarter would bounce off his bed to make sure it was made properly.
Oh. I don't remember the last time I made my bed.
Oh, I do it every day because my OCD is off the charts. Absolutely off the charts. I make my bed every single day. Twice a day.
I was going to say, do you do it when you wake up in the morning and then after your nap?
Absolutely. Yeah. If I don't, I will become even more of a blithering maniac than I already am.
But, when I leave for work, there's still somebody in there. And if I made the bed with my wife in there, she might kind of wonder what the hell's going on.
Good point.
Boner Grower Jesus said, my parents had rooms that were completely off limits because the carpet was vacuumed. And they didn't want footprints.
Sure.
If we watched TV at night, my dad would re-vacuum that room.
Oh, wow.
I know a couple people who like to have the lines.
It's satisfying.
I know it looks great, but I'm not that crazy yet. I vacuum all the time because of my OCD, but I don't care if there's any friggin' lines. I said earlier that there was one house rule that pissed me off as a kid, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. What I do think was out of the ordinary is how strict and adamant these people were. You guys have heard me speak on and on about my childhood buddy, Pistol Pete from across the street.
Yeah.
I love Pistol Pete. And his folks were wonderful, hilarious, fun people still to this day. Two of my favorite people in the world, his effing folks. His whole family was an effing riot. Pistol Pete from across the street, bring your ass back to Minnesota. He's on the run from the law. So he can't come. That's a true story. So Pistol Pete can't come back. But when you had dinner at Pistol Pete's place, you could not leave the table until you finished every lick of food on your plate. And I know that's not ridiculous.
No, it's really bad, actually.
Pistol Pete's folks would sometimes make some odd stuff.
We had that same rule.
And it's one thing if my folks enforce that rule, hell, they're my parents. I got to follow the rule. I might raise hell now and again. I might fight them now and again. But they would do this, Pistol Pete's folks, to me and my brother. And I thought it was just a dick move. You are not my parent. You don't have to teach me that finishing your plate is the right thing to do. You don't have to give me the speech about starving kids in Africa. My folks have given me that speech. I understand that. But I just thought that was, here's like this, some kind of cold spinach salad garbage why do I have to eat that? You are not my folks. I just was so pissed a few times that my brother once sat there for like 6 hours. He just refused to finish because they had some odd squid meal or something. I thought, why are you doing this to us?
Have you talked about this with them now as an adult?
Haven't seen them in so many years.
Oh. Because that would actually be funny to ask them about that.
Yeah, like, what's your deal?
They were so loose and so cool about, and they used to give us beer. They were so
cool.
But for whatever
Did they make you finish it? Finish that beer.
But did anyone have that same experience? Don't do this Nazi role with me. Come on. I'm not your kid. I am not under your command. I will be leaving your house in 2 hours. I thought it was a dick move.
Boy, so many good texts are coming in. Geez, wish we had more time. There's a lot of pretty strict households out there, the brother and sisterhood. And a lot of carpet-related ones. Somebody Strangely enough, somebody texted in and said that at a friend's house, the mom would hand over a metal rake, and they'd have to rake the shag carpeting to get the footprints out.
Sure.
Oh my gosh, what? That would take forever.
Man. No wonder some of us are just wandering the streets aimlessly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just what happened? Those are some great stories, though. We appreciate your text messages. And now we got to say bye-bye to Jupiter Jane.
Goodbye.
Least favorite part of every Tuesday.
I know it.
Saying
But
goodbye.
go out and have yourself a wonderful week. And, this is our F-off week. We won't be around next week
Right.
because of Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. Can you believe that?
No.
Jeez.
You want to come over for Thanksgiving?
I might. Are you going to make me eat everything?
Hell no. We don't even have to have any food if you don't want to.
Put your elbows on the table.
Yeah.
We can have Cool Ranch Doritos and canned beer.
Hell yeah. Sounds awesome.
Do I have to vacuum your living room?
Trust me, I will handle that.
Okay.
Yeah, I will have done that probably 6 times before anyone walks into the house. No, Janelle, go have a wonderful week and a great Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Right back at you. Happy birthday to Mike, a.k.a. Fiber Optic Jesus from Cigar Smoking Jesus.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Take advantage of Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's HVAC Black Friday specials and save up to $1,500 on a furnace and AC combo or $1,000 on a new boiler. Check out the hottest deals in town all through November at standardheating.com.